Special edition. Special edition. Special rock and roll edition. Started a celebration for the new year of those Thelemites. Bury me with Papa Crowley up in New Jersey. We're gonna rock and roll it from my neighborhood to the mountain, my second home, from my headquarters, NDG. Grateful, thankful, my rent's paid, electricity bills paid, got food and coffee, and we gotta get on that LOV. Now, some pebbles in my eye, but got a little bit on the windy side, you know. Looks like some clouds. We gotta stretch a little bit, got some food in the backpack, got some food in those gloves by which I'm challenging down from special. Double trouble, double celebration. Celebrating on that double today, celebrating victory. And I survived COVID between February 7th and March 28, 29, 2020. And marking, celebrating the beginning of that 20 March. For my Lord, HHH. Androgynous, pansexual, aspie, artist, athlete, philosopher, geopolitical, theoretical analyst, and theorist putting in this work. Sending some LOV to the firefighters, butchers, bakers, nurses, doctors, grocery store clerks, and all involved in the production, distribution of food. And that's what we gotta get doing with that. And that's what we gotta get doing on the LOV with that. And that's what we gotta get doing, you know, in the tough times. And survived COVID. I thought I was gonna die. I thought it was my last chapter. Here I am, 20th of March, 2025. And earlier went a little bit in the sun, sang some rock and roll in the sunset, beautiful day. Spring-like day, first day of spring, marking the equinox for my 93. Wanna be Thelemite here, Thelemites of the world unite, now sectarian. Laying the foundation for the dancing goddess in the dragon kingdom. Salutations to the firefighters, LOV firefighters, butchers, bakers, nurses, doctors, and grocery store clerks, all involved in the production and the distribution of food. Gonna go like a snake, all the way to the my second home, Mount Royal. Here it is for the public workers, the butchers, the bakers, the nurses, the doctors, the grocery store clerks. Yours truly, with many scars, androgynous, pansexual. Never say I wanna speak. I never say I wanna speak. Never say I wanna speak. Count the times. Not gonna get any, maybe one. Gonna get that rock and roll, far from being perfect. Tiny hands, tiny feet, tiny little scarlet dick. Yours truly makes some LOV, rock and roll, rainbow dragon. 24/7 for the butchers, the bakers, the nurses, the doctors, the train conductors, the firefighters, all those involved in the production, distribution of food, you know. And you know, I'm a lot neurodivergent with Asperger's. It has been a tough road, you know. I'm part of the neurodivergent community, and it's always building bridges with the fellow neurotypicals, being a neurodivergent, suffer, struggle, and here I am on the rock and roll, joyous today, although financially stressed. Got that backpack, got some food. Thank you for the donation. It's gonna be some of that good food when I come back. I think it was a bit of some meat and some potatoes and some veggies, and I think it's a Canada dry drink. So let's go, Canadians, North Americans unite. Let's get rid of those tariffs ASAP, you know, and let's get that rock and roll, support the dream, the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom. My dream is fundamentally a call for a public-private partnership across the North American collective, across the North American civilizational collective, across that North America. Gotta turn my head left and right before I cross the street, and the song is 24/7. Pledge your allegiance. Dar family. Pledge your allegiance. Dar family. Pledge your allegiance. Dar family. I said, pledge your allegiance. Dar family. And the butchers, the bakers, the nurses, the doctors, the grocery store clerks, those change some of those diapers in the daycare workers, those truckers on the road, the electricians, the plumbers, the welders, those of course public workers who build bridges such as this and who continue to get that work in the sanitation. And earlier today was picking up with the compost. Reminds me when I was working on the compost project in 2018, a few months I worked on like contract base. I think it was like 3.5 months, close to 4 months, and from 2018 that was a nice experience. And you know, I wish could be some work today as I'm open for business, 24/7 open for business, you know. Gotta get that open for business 24/7. And it's my fellow cousin there crossing the street and crossing on the bridge here. Quebecers, Canadians are my family, and especially, you know, my brothers and sisters in the USA also. When I crossed Canada coast to coast, coast to coast, coast to coast in 2017, in August 2017, I crossed Canada coast to coast, and that event in my life made me come out of being depressed and suicidal, and I established a strong esprit de corps, esprit de corps. My fellow Canadians, our family, Quebecers, Canadians, my family here, coast to coast, ocean to ocean, my brothers and sisters down there. The camera's pointing towards the south now, and now it's pointing towards the west and the east and the north. So throughout the North American Collective and all who come to join us. But that's kind of beautiful eyes, I gotta say, beautiful eyes. Some people got just some talent in terms of graffiti, you know, and now you see the railways. So I gotta salute the train conductors. Imagine all the building, all the brains and the muscle to build all these trains and all here that we have, all the layouts of the kilometers which we have, and that's why we are today here today, you know. So that's how we're gonna be. And for the butchers, the bakers, the nurses, the doctors, always for the firefighters, imagine all those flipping some hamburgers, some cheeseburgers, all those in the huh? So how about you guys? Financially stressed, broke.
Financially stressed and broke?
Yeah.
I hear that, man.
Financially stressed, broke. How you guys?
What are you recording there?
I'm recording a little bit of rock and roll. Y'all want some rock and roll?
Nah, but don't get me in the face.
Rock and roll, rock and roll.
Can't get my face in it, bro.
Oh, you don't want your face?
No.
Okay,
One of
okay.
us, we don't want our face.
You guys don't want a
what's your
face?
name?
Adrian Hanna Dragon.
What are you doing this late night?
I'm going to the mountain. My second home.
What's up on the mountain?
That's like my second home there.
You said you're financially broke, huh?
Financially stressed, yeah.
You don't smoke weed.
I do sometimes.
Only weed?
Huh?
Only weed?
Sometimes I do, yeah. We do sometimes, yeah.
No, but only weed?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
What are you guys up to?
Oh, we're just here chilling, man. Came from a basketball game.
How was it?
It was actually good.
Yeah?
It was actually good, yeah.
How was it? Who played against who?
Cavalier, which is a French school.
Yeah. You both play? You guys play?
No, spectators.
You guys like dancing?
No.
Then that's my favorite sport.
Yeah,
Huh?
sorry for that, but yeah.
Yeah, dancing. I dance. That's all we do.
I have somewhere to be, brother.
Brother, your brother's a sister also,
Talk to
yeah?
you next time.
Love you guys. Anyways, so that's how we're saying here, you know, we gotta get it on the go and gotta get it on the now, you know, so. Rock and roll 24/7 for the butchers, the bakers, the nurses, the doctors, the firefighters, all those who get it on the go. Sing some rock and roll. Anyways, that was a nice conversation, I guess, you know, and it's neurodivergence, you know. We gotta get doing on that, and we gotta get doing on the go, you know. Sometimes it's being neurodivergent, it's aspie artist, athlete, androgynous, being philosopher. I think might have served some hamburgers there where I used to do a lot of volunteering, so what's up on the mountain, and you know, I dance, and that's what we gotta doing with that, and we keep on going, you know, so we gotta get doing with that, and gotta get on that XYZ, you know, so gotta get it on the love. That's it, what it is, and we gotta get doing on that basketball, as they said there, you know, so something which we gotta be on that love, you know. See, with Asperger's, citizen ask, how are you? So when I say financially stressed, you know, it's neurodivergent makes, of course, us predisposed, you know, to special interests. And of course, when somebody asks this thing we don't understand fully, you know, when somebody asks, how are you? You're supposed to say, we're okay with this and that, you know. It's the protocols. So that's what we're gonna do, you know. So being that the protocols are, you're supposed to say, okay, but Aspies, we're just gonna say how we feel or how we are, which I basically responded to the question, how are you? Said financially stressed. Broke with my rents paid, electricity bills paid, got food and coffee. And I'm gonna backpack to go celebrate on the mountain. I got that backpack to go celebrate on the mountain. So forgot to ask them if they wanted a hug. You know, I always love to give some hugs, and that's what we gotta get doing with that. And That's what we gotta get doing on the love, you know. So it's something which we gotta get something close, you know. So going to my second home, neurodivergence is a bit weird, and I am hyper vigilant, you know, because I was attacked a few years ago. I was attacked by surprise, and I hit my head, and I got plenty of scars. So I'm always a bit hyper vigilant, you know. Hyper vigilant in the hyper vigilant mode. But that's it, how we feel. But you know, we love people and we want to be loved as well. It's important, but sometimes, you know, we get that hyper vigilance, and I got plenty of scars on my face, on my body, and as I just freestyle now, scars all over the body, and I don't really understand certain things of many aspects. We are very difficult in the communication with society, you know, the social knowledge, how the distance I kept in mind. Now I was gonna get so close to the fellow citizens who approached me and said, hello, how are you? And I realized that, hey, I have to keep a distance, because I was going to take the steps. And if you notice with the camera, I was going to take some steps. So I was going to take some steps and get close, because Asperger's, we don't have that personal space. So we might get a little bit of closeness, and we got too close to people in conversation, which cannot be, of course, on the situational awareness that we breach personal space, because these social norms, social protocols like personal space, they come with more, they're tougher for us to understand, because our brains is different. Our brains are different. So the brains, how we are with the brains, you know, our brains are formulated and made different. So our neurodivergence makes us predisposed to obsessive interest, special interest. Is I don't like to use the word obsessive, and that's what it is with that. So being, of course, that we gotta get doing on the XYZ, and that's what we gotta get doing with that. So that's how our brain functions. Our brain are wired differently, you know. So being that they're wired in this multi-dimensional beings that we are, and the complexity of our brains, they're just made different. So these things such as social communication and social awareness, if you have to work on them, and that's because we have to work, and it takes effort, and we have to be told like you're too close or things like that, because we don't. See, I realized, and I kind of worked on the characteristics, because I was about to be so close to the person, might have made it feel maybe a little bit uncomfortable, you know. It's just Asperger's. We're not fully aware of those social dynamics, because they come very hard for us. But some things come very easy, fluent, especially when it comes to geopolitics 24/7, the study, the analysis of geopolitics 24/7 for yours truly. And that's what I do on a daily basis for hours and hours and hours. And I am an independent geopolitical theoretical analyst and theorist, artist and athlete, philosopher. And of course, not just philosopher, but of course, whatever the case may be. Artist, athlete, philosopher, geopolitical theoretical analyst and theorist. And whatever the case is, that a special individual with Asperger's like myself, I have my own as an individual as part of the tiny community of less than 1%, less than half of a percentile, less than 0.44%. 0.44% only have Asperger's. So I'm part of a tiny community of neurodivergence, and these things, such as gossip and when to speak, when not to speak, and how to interact, they come very tough. It's very hard because our brains are made different, and so we give the weird, abnormal, not normal, and weird and strange kind of area, kind of feel in to many, because we're part of this minority, you know, 0.44%. It's not a lot of people who live with Asperger's, but I'm always glad to discuss with other beings and human beings and citizens, because I want to be loved, and I have love, you know, a lot of love. Maybe, I mean, I'm androgynous pansexual, so you're black, white, and rainbow, you know. Men, women. You want to come make LOV with me, you know. If you don't want to come make LOV with me, that's good. And, you know, we want our own path, and my individual liberty, safety, security, and with somebody else's liberty and security. And I don't like violence, you know. I don't like violence. I do not like violence, although I can be pretty intense and sporty. I like sports fitness, but I don't like violence, you know. Although I lived it, and I live with scars and trauma, and RA, retrograde amnesia, memory loss, and plenty of scars, you know. I don't want to discuss that too much, the details, but nonetheless, it's a celebratory today marking 5 years. So, see, just analyzing now, like the interaction with fellow citizens, how I was when they approached and they said hello, I said hello, but I was going to come very close to them, like close to the body with the two fellow citizens, and probably too close for comfort. But then I stopped just when I was about to take one more step to breach their personal space, because things such as personal space and other social things come more difficult for yours. Truly, people with Asperger's are more difficult to understand because our brains are different. So our life revolves around mainly our special interest, also known as obsessive interest. And my holy trinity is geopolitics. I'm an independent geopolitical theoretical analyst and theorist, and sports and fitness. Dancing is my favorite sport and fitness activity. Dancing is my favorite sport and physical activity, and rock and roll. And a fellow citizen told me there that they had just won a little bit of basketball game, and they had won a little bit of, I guess, competition. And we said, of course, that our favorite sport is dancing, and they said no, that's fine, whatever. But dancing, I can dance, for hours, and that's just me, my favorite sport. But I also march, and love boxing, hockey, love basketball, to watch it more than play it, and women's basketball, and hockey, and all sports activities I love. I'm a very physically active aspie. It's just I struggle a lot, I made a lot of friends in the past 7 years, and especially during the Pride Parade, and that's what it is with that. And made a lot of friends during the Pride Parade, and that's what it is with that, and that's what it's gonna be, So that's what we're gonna get doing with that. So meaning that the Pride Parade that I've been to in the past 7 years, I had made a lot of friends. But the problem is that, Problem is that they never, most if not all, only contact me 1, 2, 3 times, and went out 1 time, 2 times, and went for a coffee, this and that, or for a movie or whatever. In the past more than 7 years, and I made a lot of friends when I went to the Pride Parades and exchanged numbers and whatever for my fellow LGBT community. But whatever the case may be, and that's what we're gonna get doing with that, So, and it has been problematic to maintain friendships, and it's only been about 45 months since I've accepted my neurodivergence, that I have Asperger's, because I've been diagnosed for many years, and I do have Asperger's. I live with a neurological mental divergent condition, which is not a mental illness, which just makes me predisposed to obsessive interest, and these obsessive interests, I don't use the word obsessive, I will use special interest, because utilizing obsessive is more of a negative way, while they're actually special interests where Aspies have to be supported and encouraged. 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 So that's just the way it is with what I live with. And Aspies, mental divergent condition, which is not a mental illness, but makes me, of course, like many Aspies, predisposed, of course, to special interests. And our lives revolve around those special interests, and I can spend many hours daily just involved in geopolitics, geopolitical studies, geopolitical analysis. Like, we can spend hours and hours on a daily basis, and working on training, exercising, marching. My marches are hours and hours to the mountain, and see, that's what's happening at the mountain. And I said, well, that's my second home. I say, who's this weirdo, what a weirdo. And yeah, we are weird, there's certain things that we tend to be direct, honest, straightforward, So those are things which you could be like, WTF, like what the fuck? But that's just life, just like we proceed. But don't come meet me on the table of geopolitics, because you have to be well versed, well learned, well educated. And geopolitics, again, I predicted what's happening now back in 2019 in October, November. I predicted what's happening now in a general manner, because for years and years and years I've written documents and propositions and geopolitical theoretical analysis. That's what I do on the daily basis. Geopolitics, sports and fitness. Dancing is my favorite sport and fitness activity. Even now I dance a little bit with my feet, with my toes, with my ankles, with my bras, with my tongue, with my feet, with my little derriere, a little back side, little front side, little back side, little slide on the left, slide on the right, with the tongue, with the eyes, with the trillions and trillions of cells in the brain that constitute, the receptors and everything that constitute the brain. But having that, I have a neurodivergent brain. So that's where we are today. So I gotta say my gratitude, grateful, thankful, rent's paid, electricity bills paid, got food and coffee, and gotta give salutations to the Royal Canadian Legions, to our vets, sending some love. If you need some dancing, some volunteer, always love to get that volunteering, and always love to offer something on the table more than blah 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 blah. But that's what it is. Today is Thursday, the 20th of March, so I've been celebrating, and of course to get that celebration on the go, and that's how we gotta get doing with that, and gotta get on that celebration side, and we gotta get it on the go, and that's something which I love to be physically active. I love to be physically active and involved in physical activity, and always do a little bit of meditations. About all of that highways now, the truckers. See how my brain functions now? Being that geopolitics is one of my trinity of special interest, my brain now focuses to geopolitics. So now I'm seeing this highway, but my brain of course integrates it and calculates all the trucks potential, what's happening across the transportation, with all the truckers, all the supply chains, all the supply lines that are across the North American collective, and of course across the North American collective, and to the point that we are now at a point of very tough geopolitical relationships. Our geopolitics now is of course very at a crucial point. And now my brain just did a little flash and calculations in the head, and of course I interjected it and calculated it from the perspective of the North American highways and all the trucks that are going with this necessary vital supplies, such as potatoes, bacon, bread, cheese, tomatoes, all the food, mostly the food, but other goods as well. And to the point that we are now open, of course, for potential espionage and sabotage by powerful nation states, which have, of course, just as of today, the geopolitical event of today. Although I'm celebrating, I still got to discuss, because I'm celebrating, but also I'm hyper vigilant and alert. And being that, of course, China has imposed tariffs, 100% tariffs on canola. So we export a lot of canola. So being that we export a lot of canola to China, imposed 100% tariff. So that is a big tariff. That tariff is actually it's huge. So it's a big tariff, and that's not to be played around with that type of tariff, from the perspective, of course, that it is such a big amount that, of course, it's 100% tariffs. And we export billions of dollars of canola oil to China. They're most exported for billions of dollars to China, so that's how we gotta get doing with that, and that's how we gotta get on that XYZ, gotta get on that meditation, and always be mindful that this trade war between Canada and the United States is actually very stupid, and I'm no Trump supporter. I'm actually would have voted for Biden, Kamala, and I speak as not just a Quebecer Canadian, but as a brother of sisters of the USA. And of course I was born in the United States 3 times post 7076, was born three times in the United States. I'm gonna cross by that side. Oh, 76, and once was born as a woman. You get that 50-50 now, twice as a man, twice as a man, twice as a man. And being that once I was born as a woman or twice as a man, yeah. I served in the United States Armed Forces twice, and twice, of course, man. Twice, of course, that's what it is. And I served post 76 twice. Many incarnations, many past lives, many incarnations, many past lives, many incarnations, many past lives, you know. But here we are, you know, and survived COVID. And now I gotta mention the geopolitics, the new geopolitics, of course, between China and Canada. This is a new development in the trade war. So now it seems that we have, of course, a big trade wars on the horizon, which have already started, and of course, which are about to only get worse in the terms of the on the horizon. And of course, I firmly believe that my Trinity theory is best. Turn my head left or right, you know. You never know. Turn my head left and right before I cross the street, and that's what it is with that, you know, because you never know. I guess the brakes malfunction. A citizen might press the accelerator instead of the brake. So if somebody presses the accelerator instead of the brake, that means, of course, braking, whatever the case may be, that it's a possibility for the brakes to malfunction, and it's a possibility not only for the brakes to malfunction, but also for the citizen to press the accelerator instead of the brake. The accelerator instead of the brake. The accelerator instead of the brake by mistake. So I'm always prudent because I'm in the public, eh? I'm in the public. So being in the public, I got added responsibilities, duties, and obligations. Which I don't have under the normal circumstances of life. I'm just gonna drop a little bit of something here. Yeah. So that's what it is with that. That's what it is, and that's how we gotta go doing with that, and that's how we gotta get doing with the XYZ, and gotta give a salutation, a little bit of some recognition, some rock and roll for those who build the. Here's our subway here. It's the metro subway, Vendôme, right? It's the Metro Vendôme, and you have the subway, and the workers in the 60s, 70s, they build it, and we can go across Montreal, you know. So it's something which is the feature of it, you know. So something which we gotta get that features in, you know, because civilization is a privilege. Civilization is a privilege. So even now, again, see how my brain switched. I'm look at the Vendôme metro station. I know that how they are spread across Montreal, several metro stations like this one where you can go underground, take the subway, and get a public transportation. And I put it integrally from a geopolitical perspective, how also our subways, our metros are open for potential sabotage. Espionage and sabotage. Sabotage and espionage. Espionage and sabotage. All, not just here in Montreal, Hawk Island, Montreal, Hawk Island, but throughout the North American civilizational complex. Of which we are a new emergent civilizational complex, which is not totally divorced, but is distinct from Western civilization. So those are the two modus operandis which you have to keep in mind when I discuss the North American civilizational complex. But yes, we made powerful enemies, potential powerful enemies, which are nuclearly armed, which are very powerful nation states, and powerful nation states. So that's what it is with that, and powerful nation states. So that's what it is. That's why we made the North American civilizational complex. And here we are in the Quebec, Canada, North America. As a Quebecer, Canadian, North American, celebrating today, 20th of March, I march, beginning of the Thelema New Year from 1904, for my Lord H, celebrating, marking 5 years since I survived COVID. I survived COVID in 2020, between February 7th, 2020, and of course March 28th, 2020, something like that, between February 7th, 2020 and March 29th, March 28, 29, I was starting to feel better. So 5 years ago, I marked 5 years, it was like death, pestilence, and disease. It was like death, pestilence, and disease. It was really like death, pestilence, and disease. I felt like death, pestilence, and disease. Death, pestilence, and disease, you know. So that's what we gotta get doing with that. So that's what it is, and that's what we gotta. I took a little turn here because I'm gonna go like zigzagging, but nonetheless, it was like death, pestilence, and disease, death, pestilence, and disease, death, pestilence, and disease. But that's what I gotta get doing with that. That's what we gotta get doing with that, and that's what we are here, you know. So that's what we gotta get, you know. And when I say it was like death, pestilence, and disease, it was. And somehow I survived it. I know when I say it was death, pestilence, and disease, it sounds like a hardcore death thrash metal song. Death thrash metal song, death thrash metal song. And I know that's what it sounds like. But it sounds like a heavy metal, death thrash, death metal trash, rock and roll type of name of an album or name of a song or some lyrics in the chorus when I say death, pestilence, and disease. But that's how I felt. And I survived it. I survived it. I survived. And here I am, 20th of March 2025, and got some kilos down, got some pounds down, a lot. I lost between 80 and 93 pounds, celebrating 5 years since I survived COVID. And from the sky, got trillions of kisses from the goddess, G-O-D-D-S-S. Goddess, because I created my surviving COVID to the goddess, G-O-D-D-E-S-S. G-O-D-D-E-S-S, G-O-D-D-E-S-S, the goddess. I credit me surviving to the goddess, credit my surviving to the goddess. Survived COVID, you know, because of the goddess. And yeah, I want to build the forgotten goddess temple on the Canadian-US border, and that's what it is with that, on the Canadian-US border, and that's what it is with that, you know. So it gotta be, you know. So hey, hold up. Ooh. Oh, yeah. So I survived COVID, and COVID was very hardcore for yours truly, and here marching to the mountain, and seems like it's gonna start a little bit of that rain. So I don't know how we're gonna proceed and doing a full video or not, but that's how we gotta get doing with that. That's how we're gonna get doing with the video here, and give a call for my anonymous friend, get a little bit of that split 50-50, and I will to build the forgotten goddess temple, the forgotten goddess temple on the Canadian-US border that way south, and the North American People's Imperial Coliseum to be 11 times, greater, bigger than the NFL stadium where the hardball ball, aka blackout ball, where the hardball ball, aka blackout ball was built, you know. That's 11 times. And the first sports event is gonna be Dragon versus Trump. The first sports event is gonna be Dragon versus Trump. First event is gonna be Dragon versus Trump, you know, that's what it's gonna be. Dragon versus Trump, that's what it's gonna be with that. Dragon versus Trump. Challenge and have an MMA challenge Donald Trump to a boxing match on the Canadian-US border. On that Canadian-US border have been since 2018 when he first imposed tariffs on Canadian aluminum and steel. And I got those gloves in the backpack, red backpack in the back that I'm carrying out with some food, and auctioning those for a million to give half, 50% to my anonymous friend, give half to my anonymous friend, and if I make a million, I'm gonna give half, 50% to my anonymous friend, and that's what it is with that. And that's a little bit of hope right there. Somebody holding hands and making some kissing, some hugging. It's always some hope for the free world. Free world is not all about true nor strong and free here, as we're gonna fuse with my brothers and sisters in the South, home of the brave, land of the free, home of the brave, land of the free, home of the brave. We gotta add some LOV in that, because we both free here, through north, strong and free, south, home of the brave, land of the free, home of the brave. We gotta add some another ingredients to that duo, because bravery, and freedom is not enough. Gotta add some LOVE, some love, and we gotta get some charity, please. NFL, National Football League, NHL, National Hockey League, NBA, National Basketball Association, MLB. Please, of course, give some charity. Just reduce the ticket costs by 44.9%. 44.9%, calling for the reduction of the tickets by 44.9%. That is what I'm calling for, the tickets to be reduced by 44.9%. 44.9%, and to be at par with whatever the prices of the life cost, increasing in life living expenses has, about average that I calculate in mathematical financial, because of course salaries have only increased about 4.4% in the past 5 years. So here I go on my bank. I'm just gonna use this because I like to keep the protocols on COVID, and I'm just gonna use some of this disinfectant for the hands to still have Oh, it's cold. It's gonna do some banking. See how in the red I am again? See how in the red? I'm financially stressed, but grateful, thankful. My rent's paid my rent, paid my electricity bill, got food and coffee, and I got some food donated again in the backpack. The backpack, I'm wearing almost red and blue, red shoes, and red pants, and red hat, and red garments, and I'm auctioning everything, the shoes, the underwear, the pants, for $1 million each, to give that 50% to my anonymous friend. Give that 50% to my anonymous friend, give that 50% to my anonymous friend, give that 50%, and that's what it is with that, and that's what we gotta go doing. And always gotta give some LOV to the farmers, butchers, bakers, nurses, doctors, grocery store clerks, all involved in the production, distribution of food, the grocery store clerks, all those butchers, the bakers, those flipping some burgers now, some cheeseburgers, the nurses, the firefighters, LOV to the firefighters. I gotta send some love to the firefighters, gotta give some love. Oh yeah, you can see there that financial situation is, I pay not that much interest got lower, thank you to my cousin, uncle, Tiff Macklin, the Bank of Canada. I pay 10.44 interest, but with my DRT, the debt refusal theory implemented, we're gonna put 10% for both Canada and the US, that to be maximum, no more than 10. So I could continue, but see, I'm now 9,980, so $20 to 10,000, so almost 10,000. We can round it up to 10,000, I guess, at that number. So, and the other one, count information, balance inquiry, checking on savings. Oh yeah, see, this one I'm really in the red, but I got a protection, so I can go up to minus 500, and sometimes I got overdraft protection, I can go to minus 550. So if I have a food emergency or other emergency, I can get maybe $50, but I'm already in the minus. See, so I'm in the red. I'm thinking that's all the banks I have, but for the weekend I'm gonna take for my credit line. This ATM can only dispense $100 bills. No, I'm not. I don't need. I'm gonna return card and go to the other one, I guess. There's different ATM machines, eh? So all the different machines, they have their different settings, but let's sing some rock and roll. Please, billionaires, millionaires, finance the butchers and Finance the public workers, those who pick up the garbage, the recycling, and the compost. Finance them some of that good. Massage therapy sessions, and I wish I could afford a massage therapy session myself, but I'm gonna take a bath tomorrow or Sunday, and I'm gonna compensate for not being able to take a massage therapy session. I wish I could afford a massage therapy session. It was so good. But you know what? The firefighters of Canada, US, North American Collective deserve it more than yours truly. So finance the firefighters and the nurses. Finance them a massage therapy session. And the doctors and the public workers best. So I took 15. So this 15 should last me for the whole weekend. Just to buy food, basically. So you saw I'm in the red and financially stressed, but this 15 I took from the credit line, and I think at home I got $5 somewhere. So now I'm in the red even more. I can withdraw five more bucks, but and potentially 50 for an emergency in case of an emergency for food. So that is my financial stress here, my financial situation, you know. And please give some charity. Please sign an executive order to raise the minimum wage. That would have been an executive order proper, and we need to implement my Trinity theories. It's a must, especially the DRT, debt refusion theory, for the creation of the UE best at this point in time, you know. As a struggling artist, financially struggling artist, athlete, philosopher, geopolitical, theoretical analyst, and theorist, and who's neurodivergent, has plenty of scars, live with retrograde amnesia, and celebrating 5 years since survived COVID. And COVID was really like death, pestilence, and disease, you know. Thought I was gonna die. In many ways I did die during COVID, and I got a little book with me, Karma and Reincarnation, Karma and Reincarnation, Karma and Reincarnation, you know. So I'm a mystic. I'm a wannabe Thelemite. Bury me with Papa Crowley, Alistair Crowley in Hampton, New Jersey. The third of me over there, and a third of me at the City of the Pyramids, and the third of me on the mountain, Mount Royal. my second home at the Belvedere. So that's where I go, and that's where I love to go, and that's where I feel good, you know. I just feel good going there, and brings me joy. And like a lot of illusions dissipate when I'm there in the forest, in the dark, in the blackness, in the darkness of the forest, you know, from civilization, from the concrete jungle here, and going there in nature and discussing with nature, and slaps me a little bit of those thunders. But when I go there, you know, it's like less illusions, LESS, less illusions, you know. Meaning that you kind of get a feel of nature and the temperament and the quasi mystical and natural aspects of being in nature. And I'm just gonna wash my hands again with this disinfectant, because I touched 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and I 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, smells. But it's effective, you know? It's effective. Yeah.
A family member or?
That's it. That's what gives me hope. I saw people holding hands there, the youth, you know? The youth holding hands and loving, and that's what I will to see, man. Now I'm happy, you know? Now I'm more happy. If I die tonight, gonna die with a smile. I saw those two there holding hands and kissing, and I didn't see them kissing, but I guess if they're holding hands, they're gonna kiss and make love tonight. So otherwise, what are we fighting to save for? Wall Street, they got their money, you know. NBA players got their money, NHL players got their money, owners also. Owners, they got that double trouble, more money. Owners, players, NFL, National Football League, NHL, National Hockey League, NBA, National Basketball Association, MLB, millionaires, billionaires, you know. Give some charity. I'm not totally selfless myself, but ain't no way that if I would have millions and billions now, I would not give to charity. If I would have in these tough economic times, I wish I would have had 44 billion when Trump got elected on the 6th. I would have went down dirty hoodie on incognito, when I would have went across North America to just distribute and give 10%, which would have been the equivalent of 4.4 billion. That's 4,000 million to citizens across Canada, US, veterans, black, white, vets, those vets, whatever the case may be, who are in a precarious situation. I would have whispered that here's the money, 50,000 to tens of thousands. This is your this is your second chance. This is my redemption. I would have said this is your second chance. This is my redemption. So now I got to get that redemption for both North America by the DRT. I'm going to discuss the DRT, debt refusion theory. Super important that I discuss it before the rainstorm starts. So the DRT, debt refusion theory, stands for D, debt, R, refusion, T for theory. Why do I make the statement that my DRT theory is the solution, or consequently something similar which resembles my DRT theory to the aforementioned? Because we paid last year 46.5 billion on the public debt of Canada. So the principle, keep in mind that in 2020, 2021, the number was 20.3 billion. A billion has 90, a billion is 1,000 million. So keep that in mind. So just that point, in fact, to recognize that 20.3 double is 40.6. So if you do the calculation, you notice that the amount of interest has more than doubled. So we're just conversing about just the interest paid on the public debt, right? So consequently, it cannot be sustained. Mathematical financial principles is that the GDP also would have had to double. While our economy only grew 1%, 2%, it takes more than 44 years for a GDP, an economy like Canada with the more than 40 million population. I think we're approaching close to 45 now, close to 45 million, close to 45. Numbers are revised, but close to. So anyways, the point is that as I go up this mountain, my DRT theory, I got to put it on the table, and it comes out of the curse of Asperger's, having suffered struggle with Asperger's. And I can tell you that the DRT, debt refusion theory, is the solution, or something similar to the DRT theory, to the debt refusion theory, is the solution. So that's what we got to do. So we're going to take all the DRT, the debt refusion theory, the debt refusion theory, the DRT, the debt refusion theory, the DRT, the debt refusion theory, the debt refusion theory. So we're going to take all the public. So again, what I make this statement for is due to the fact that the interest, the amount of interest on the money has doubled that we paid on the public debt. The amount of interest has doubled. The amount of interest has doubled from 2021 fiscal year. It went from 2020, from the fiscal year 2020, 2021, it was 20.3 billion. So it went to 46.5 billion. That's 46,000 million. Compared to 4 years ago, it was 20,300 million. Still a lot, but it more than doubled. And yes, due to COVID. See how he goes up? He goes, I'm going on the hill now. Well, that's actually the mountain. One of the three peaks, West Mount, as we're heading towards Mount Royal proper. The three-peak mountain right at the center of Hawk Island, Montreal, my second home. So here it is. So the fact that the interest payments have doubled, there's no way out of this, but my debt refusion theory, paradoxically, or something which resembles my DRT theory, 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 you know. So that's what it's gonna be with that. My debt refusion theory is the only solution, or something which resembles it. So the DRT, debt refusion theory, is something which we gotta be implementing. So the fact that we pay 46.5 billion in interest. Last year we paid is due to COVID. The amount skyrocketed, yes, due to COVID. But you realize that this financial mathematical principle, just like, of course, if an individual's interest payments on an individual individual basis would have doubled. Let's say if it would have doubled from, let's say an individual citizen. Personally, I do not have credit cards myself. I don't have credit cards. Like I showed you, I have a credit line. I pay 10.44% interest, right? But an individual who of course would have paid, let's say an individual citizen, XYZ, he, she, they, whatever the case may be. Let's say in 2020, 2021, the individual citizen paid $156 in interest. If that number jumps from 156 to 333, because 156 double is 312. So 333 is more than double 156, which is making an equivalent, parallel, exact situational parallel with the public finances, with the public finances, with the public finances. That's what happened with our interest. Only the interest paid it more than doubled from 20.3 to 46.5 billion. So an individual citizen whose salary doesn't double, if the interest paid, whether it goes from 156 to 333 or whatever other X number doubles, that means that the individual citizen has to cut the spending, cut maybe Netflix, cut whatever expenses it has, whatever the case with the expenses. If he has an expenses in XYZ, whatever expenditures they have, if they have an expense that's extra, or whatever, going out to the movies, going out to the Netflix, renting Netflix, spending money on going out to the restaurant, spending money on extra chocolate bars, spending money on renting movies, spending money on, I don't smoke lots of cannabis and I don't buy, but if somebody does, it happens that people smoke and buy, and you have to reduce the budget, you have to reduce the spending, you have to cut the budget, you have to cut the expenses, the expenditures. Because even if your salary increases by 5%, 10%, 15%, you cannot keep the same amount of spending. You cannot keep the same amount of spending. So the same amount cannot be spent. The same amount cannot be spent, right? That's just the mathematics. The logic, behind mathematics, and I'm okay at math. I'm okay. Not that bad. I'm okay. I guess some people say we're good or above average. Some people might qualify me as above average, especially in percentages. Calculating percentages, fractions, and multiplication, addition, but specifically percentages. I do love, and from an Asperger's perspective, when I say love, because we can love. I really want to be loved and love, and I love to see people love. So, rock and roll. But now back to mathematics, we have to love my DRT theory and all the suffering, the struggle that I present on the table, the solution. There's no way out of this where we are now. There's just no way. Because, of course, the GDP has also increased by 1%, 2%, 3%. But the interest has more than doubled in just 3 years. Yes, due to COVID. But again, the same principle applies. What are we going to cut? The police services, the RCMP, the prisons, those who pick up the garbage, the compost. What are we going to reduce in the public expenses? The healthcare, public healthcare, those public sanitation workers who pick up the garbage, the compost, the recycling. Something has to be cut in the budget. And a few weeks ago I saw that there was a big reduction in the number of employees for Immigration Canada reduced by thousands. So I'm relating that, maybe it's related to that. See, here we are on Westmount, and that sometimes we're there and we point towards up here, so you can see how it goes down in the slope and down on the mountain. So here we're basically on the mountain, but it can still go higher up. It can still go higher up, That's what it is there. So it can still go higher up, higher up to go there, So that's what it is there. And I didn't see people until I get there and to get it on the XYZ. And there's somebody holding hands and kissing, and gotta get it for that XYZ, and it's XYZ, and that's what we gotta get doing. It's, so. That's what we gotta get doing. So see how we are at the top there, and we can still go up, 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 and you know, that's what it is. And I just realized there was some couple on the bench, and just keep loving, keep hugging, you know, that's good for that. And to get it on that love side, it's something which we gotta get doing for LOV, and we gotta get on the love, in the love, and it's good. Love is good, you know. Love is good by action, you know. So that's what we gotta get doing on the love. So that's what we gotta get on the love part of things. So it's something which we gotta quantify on the XYZ to be on the love, you know, because it's super important to get love, man. That's what is the most important thing, I guess. You know, love. What are we here, you know? It's spirituality, rock and roll, and back to the DRT, Mike. Back to the DRT. So back to the DRT, and that's what we gotta get doing with that, and we gotta get doing with that, and the debt refusion theory. Anyways, so back to the DRT. So the debt refusion theory for the creation of the UE. So we're gonna have to implement my theory, because again, otherwise what are we gonna cut in the public? Something, the police, the RCMP, what are we gonna reduce? The interest has more than doubled. The interest payments have more than double. So that point, in fact, that the interest payments have more than doubled from 20.3 billion to 46.5 billion, from 20.3 billion to 46.5 billion. That's just the interest to get it on the go. So that's what it is. The fact that it is, of course, the amount has increased so much while the economy has only increased by 1%. And just like the same financial mathematical principle applies, if an individual's interest payments more than double, then one has to reduce. So now there is a possibility of a black swan event for the whole population of Canada, for the whole public financial system of Canada. On the horizon, there's a possibility for a black swan event, you know, there's a possibility for a black swan event, which is a financial worst case scenario. Worst case financial scenario is on the horizon for the public finances of Canada. It's possible that tomorrow, on the 21st, second day of spring, that we see a black swan event or a public financial crash of the Canadian public financial system, because it cannot be sustained. We're gonna have to reduce massively healthcare, whatever the case may be. So that is just the mathematical principle which applies. You know. So that is basically the mathematical principle which applies, you know, which applies. So that's what it is with that. Here, you know. That's what it is with that here. So we're gonna have to do the DRT, implement the DRT. That's what it is with that. So so that's what it is with that. So that is just the point in fact. Which we are, you know. So that is where we are now, you know. So that is where we are. We have arrived, you know. So it's something which is gonna have to happen. You know. So we have to implement it, in other words, because the interest payments have more than doubled. That's what it is. That's just the point where we are now. There's no arguing. We cannot reverse it, but we can fix it. We have the solution. Something which resembles my DRT. and preferably my debt refusion theory. See how it goes up still? Up. See, there's high. So now we're at the midpoint of the mountain. Now see how it goes down? Sometimes we're over there. Sometimes we're over there. And we're still going up. But from the three peak mountain system, Mount Royal. So there's no other way around it. No other way around it. So basically, fundamentally, in essence, the solution is on the table, the DRT. So I'm going to explain. And again, he cannot be argued. It cannot be fixed. Where today, the 20th of March, 2025, we can also only make a resolution and take action, of course, for the future, for tomorrow. It starts now, me marching on the mountain and joyous but financially stressed, happy but financially stressed, content but financially stressed, sweating, which is good, sweating for my workout, which is good. So basically, that is whatever the only solution is. No other solution, So something similar to my DRT theory has to be implemented. There's no way out of it. No way out of it. It's a paradox, but the DRT, debt refusion theory, which includes monetary integration theory, which is my financial theory, DRT, but my DRT includes monetary integration theory, which is the financial theory which was implemented in the European Union. If you want to get whoever you are, millionaire, billionaire, for myself, for my anonymous friend, 514-933-998, 514-933-998, Martin Rouleau, 514-933-998. And I can split 50-50. I can go up and down these stairs every day. Dragon versus Trump, still challenging Donald Trump to a box minor on Canadian US border. Back to the DRT. Debt refusion theory. My DRT includes monetary integration theory, which is the financial theory which was implemented in the European Union. The Europeans, they destroyed their national central banks. The Germans destroyed their national central banks. The Italians, the Germans, the French, many countries destroyed their national central banks, and they created a multinational central bank, the ECB, the European Central Bank, which issues the euro. She issues the euro. So they have a common central bank. So my debt refusion theory includes monetary integration theory, but it's for the North American collective, for the realities of Canada, United States mainly. Canada first, but I'm calling for its implementation simultaneously. Canada and the US, simultaneously, Canada and the US, simultaneously for Canada and the US, simultaneously for Canada and the US, simultaneously for Canada and the United States, for Canada and the United States, for Canada and the United States and the USA, United States of America. So all the debt. See how it goes down. This year it goes steep, down the mountain. So we're kind of at the midpoint. It still goes up. We're kind of at the midpoint of the peak called West Mount, because the mountain system, proper Mount Royal, has three peaks. It's right between the east and the west, between east and the west of Montreal, Hawk Island metropolis of 2.5 million people, but slightly south. So my DRT, debt refusion theory, includes and integrates in my DRT's integrated monetary integration theory, which is the financial theory which was implemented in the European Union back more than 25 years ago, in the 90s. So we're gonna take all the public and the private debt, my 10,000 included, which you just saw from the bank. So my $10,000, your $10,000, coast to coast, ocean to ocean, all the public and the private debt, all the public and the private debt, all the public and the private debt, all that public private debt of Canadians and Canada. We're gonna convert it into US dollars. We're going to add it with the US dollar. With the US dollar. So all that number, that's going to be the initial money supply for a new central bank. The initial money supply for a new central bank. The initial money supply for a new central bank. The initial money supply for a new central bank. That's going to be the initial money supply for a new central bank. The initial money supply for a new central bank. All the public and the private debt. The public and the private debt. All the public and the private debt. All the public and the private debt. So all that debt, public and private, all of that, convert it together, add it all up, add it all up. Gonna convert it into US dollars. US dollars, added with the US. All that money is going to be the initial money supply for a new central bank, for a new central bank, for a new central bank, for a new central bank. All that money is going to be for a new central bank. The money, we're going to create a new currency called the UE. U dot universal, E dot exchange, U dot unit. U dot universal, E dot exchange, U dot unit. The universal exchange unit. The UE. U dot universal, E dot exchange, U dot unit. The UE. U dot universal, E dot exchange, U dot unit. The UE. The universal exchange unit is going to have the value of the US dollar. We're going to set an interest rate level of 10% max. 10% max. So it's not going to be able to be more than 10% thereafter, after its implementation. And we can have less, but not more than 10. So I have, you saw before, a priori, I paid $10%, 10.44%. I paid 10.44%. So we're not going to be able to have more than 10. It's going to be 10 maximum on all loans, credit cards, whatever loans, bank financial loans, commercial, whatever. 10 maximum. It could be less. 3.33, 1.56, 7.18, 6.1, 9.3, 1.56, below 10, whatever the case may be, below 10. So that's what it is with that. So below 10, that's what it's gonna be with that. Below 10. So that's what it's gonna be with that. Below 10 by principle. So all that money, we're gonna bundle it up, and that's gonna be the initial money supply for this new central bank. We're gonna create a new central bank. We're gonna create a new central bank of North America, and that new central bank is gonna have, whatever the case, whatever name we give it, it doesn't matter. In principle, is the principle that matter. Is the principle that matter. Is the principle that matter, and that's what matters. The principle. So we're gonna set an interest rate level of 10% max. We're gonna create the UE, U dot universal, E dot exchange, U dot unit. The UE is gonna have the value of the US dollar. With that money, we're gonna rebuild the infrastructure of the North American Collective, because we're going to implement it simultaneously, Canada, US. We're going to get rid of the border, create a common passport, do a great joint census, and see the population who's been living here since 2020, let's say February, since I had COVID, February, March, more than 5 years, and preferably more than seven since 2017 or 2020. Either or, it could be both, depending on characteristics. And we're gonna finance the building construction of 44 tunnels. The building construction of 44 tunnels. 44, the number of the 43 before 45, is 44 mass tunnels in case of a thermonuclear war. And we're gonna stack them with food, cans of food, cans, whatever, lots of food, whatever the case may be. Lots of food, cans which can last 3.5 years, 5 years, 7 years, 11 years, whatever the case may be. So food which can last a long time, whatever the case may be. Food which can last a long time. So that's how we're gonna get doing with that, and that's how we're gonna get doing with that, and we're gonna get doing on that, So it's XYZ, and that's what we're gonna get doing with the XYZ, to do it on the go. So we're gonna get doing. So that's how it is. So all the money is gonna be in circulation. It's gonna be all the DRT, the debt refusion theory. All the money was gonna be in circulation, the public-private debt, converted to US dollar. That money we're gonna do lots of good. Mass finance citizens fitness, mass finance citizens to work out, to train, to exercise. Mass finance citizens to work out, to train, to exercise. Mass finance citizens to work out, to train, to exercise. Mass finance citizens to work out, to train, and to exercise. Created my workout training program system, created some UEs, created the general integrated whole body training system, aka the Dragonomy workout. Back, of course, in 2019, designed, created to go hand in hand with a World War III scenario. Mass finance tourism, because it got me out of being depressed and suicidal. And 2017 when I crossed Canada coast to coast from Montreal, of course, crossing from Montreal, and crossing from Montreal to whatever the case may be, crossing from Montreal to whatever. When I crossed from Montreal all the way to Vancouver, BC, I went 3.5 days. It took from Montreal to Vancouver, British Columbia in 2017 in August, and then came back and it was 25 hours and 44 minutes. 25 hours and 44 minutes. 25 hours and 44 minutes. 5 hours and 44 minutes from Montreal to Halifax. Halifax by train. So that was an event which completely changed my life. Before that I was depressed, suicidal, and that event made me establish a strong esprit de corps. Go public works, go. So my DRT, we're gonna do lots of good. Create the two complementary covenant and cooperative institutions, the Dragonomy, aka North American Integrated Dance League, with it. North American for Security Service and Defense. Security Service and Defense, emergency response only. Security Service and Defense, emergency response only. Dragonomy, and get legions, 1% mobilization of 1% from existing or new 18 plus men and women, whatever the case may be, from the population of Canada for the creation of a legion of the Dragonomy, and from the 50 states. So we're going to create 51 or 63 legions, maybe from each province of state of Canada. New 1% mobilization for the Dragonomy to be only for security service and defense, coast to coast, ocean to ocean. New public-private partnership institution. Fundamentally, my dream is a dancing goddess in the Dragon Kingdom. Is fundamentally a call for a public-private partnership. 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 A PPP across Canada, United States joint, and it's better we focus on defense, coast to coast, ocean to ocean, coast to coast, ocean to ocean, the ports and the airports, rather than the border. Let's get rid of the border. Unite, fuse the North Canada with the South in a public-private partnership manner. I don't know about the 51st state, but I don't support Trump, far from it. I've been and will continue to challenge, and I think Trump made a mistake. It should have been inviting us to become the 51st state with some bacon and apple pie, cherry pie, shrimp pie, ham pie, beef pies, butter pie, caramel pie, onion pie, chocolate pie, vanilla pie, or whatever else pies across the 50 states. Would have been not the pie, the 3.1416 number in mathematics, but like an edible, comestible pie. That's what I meant. So, whatever the case may be, that should have been an invitation with some trumpets, with some marching bands, some singing, some cheerleading on, just like that NFL. And with the DRT, debt refusion treaty, both Canada and United States, we're gonna focus on security, coast to coast, ocean to ocean, the ports and the airports, best for the ports and the airports. So that's how we gotta get doing with that, and that's how we're gonna get doing, So here we are atop the mountain, atop Mount Westmount. That's Mount Royal. Here we are at Mount Royal. So that's how we're gonna get doing with that, and here we are atop Mount Royal, and that's what we're gonna get doing from Mount Royal. We gotta get it for the butchers, bakers, nurses, doctors, grocery store clerks, and all involved in the production, distribution of food. And here it is, my second home, Mount Royal. Gonna consecrate Horus. There we go. We crossed on the good side. And last time we entered by that side, so now we're just gonna go around about it and enter and kind of go in and out. Go in and out by the side here. We're gonna just go around about it. And something in my eye again. Before it was the right eye, now it's the left. Some piece of dust or whatever the case may be. As you see, it's a bit windy, so the DRT, we're going to be implementing it and do lots of good. It's the only solution, much of the public and the private financial situation for many Canadians, many brothers and sisters in the USA. It's best we fuse geopolitically, and it is our destiny. It is our destiny. Now, this is my brothers and sisters, fellow Canadians, 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 brothers and sisters, fellow Canadians. The king is absent. The king is absent. And this prime minister swore allegiance to the king. It should have been for the 40 plus million Canadians instead of the king. You know, instead of the king, it should have been allegiance for the 40 plus million, I guess, allegiance instead of the king. It should have been for the 40 plus million Canadians, and that's what it is with that. And instead of the king, it should have been for the 40 plus million Canadians, and that's what it is with that. And that's what it is for the go, you know. So that's why we gotta be mindful there, you know. And across the street, you gotta be prudent. And so I got something in my eye again. Something in my eye again, and that's what we're gonna get doing with that, and that's what it is for that, and that's what they gotta get doing, you know. So that's what they gotta get doing with that, and let's say they gotta get on the go, you know. So something which we gotta be on the transmission side, and always grateful, thankful my rent's paid, electricity bill's paid, and gotta be mindful, you know. Tough times for many, and I've been depressed and suicidal. And it's a hard road. It was a hard battle. Depression, being suicidal, you know. And crossing Canada made me establish a strong esprit de corps. Made me establish a strong esprit de corps. So, having of course established that strong esprit de corps with my fellow Canadians, family, pledge your allegiance. Dar family, pledge your allegiance. Dar family, pledge your allegiance. Dar family. Even by that side we can go, but we're gonna go around the bout. So that is the song, rock and roll. Pledge your allegiance, on the toes, you know. And I don't know if I used to do drugs, whatever the case may be, but I have symptoms of raw memory loss, retrograde amnesia. I just got like flashes of being attacked by surprise. Went to the hospital and was put on some medication. I had a dislocated right arm. It was replaced, and I had my own psyllium pyoid episode. I had my own psyllium pyoid episode. So that made me come up big. Possible that the mold where I used to live, a few kilometers that way, still on the island of Montreal, aka Hawk Island, but maybe the black mold, the red mold, there was a lot of red, black, green, and whitish mold, you know, mold, M-O-L-D, of black one, yellowish, kind of reddish, almost white, and greenish, you know, different types of mold, and there was lots of it. So maybe that, but sometimes the memory comes back. It's just my memory from early life, you know, like early life memory. So not necessarily memory that's recent memory. I remember a lot past 7, 8, 9 years, and then kind of goes 10 and then 11 max. Like there's blackouts after if I try to go back further in my memory on the 7 years, you know. So that's what we gotta get doing with that. So we gotta get on to do. So something which we gotta be mindful of, you know. So that we are taking care of our health, and that's what we gotta get doing with that, and that's what we gotta get doing now, you know. So something which we gotta be mindful of health and mental health. For me, it's fitness, sports, and gratitude. Being grateful. I cannot express it. Because see, just having this light and having electricity, having this phone is a privilege. Civilization is a privilege, and gotta give a shout out to the Hydro-Quebec workers. With my DRT, Dental Fusion TV, we're gonna be able to implement more and build more hydroelectric dams and have more electricity security across the collective, and we're gonna do lots of good. we're gonna mass finance citizens to work out, train, exercise, and I gotta be careful because I get a little bit of allergies, you know. I get a little bit of allergies, of course. I get a little bit of allergies, so we gotta get doing with that. And less poodles. Except for poodles, you know. Poodles I compared, but some of these big ones just start sneezing, you know. So here it is. Canadian Armed Forces got to paint a little bit of that red. We're gonna establish the Public Flower Partnership Legions, the Dragon Legion, which the only examination is 18 plus and 16 plus maybe, and be able to do my general war integrated total body training system. Be able to do my general war integrated total body training system. Be able to do my general war integrated total body training system. And just today, I already marched more than all the generals of NATO during COVID. Now already marched more than the generals during COVID, and especially during COVID, marched more than the generals of NATO combined during COVID, more than the generals of NATO combined during COVID. So, gotta give some LOV, sing some rock and roll for the Canadian Armed Forces, and you know, we gotta play that defense, coast to coast, ocean to ocean. We're gonna play that defense, coast to coast, ocean to ocean, coast to coast, ocean to ocean, coast to coast, ocean to ocean. Defense, and for the cuckolds, for the homos, for the black, white. And we're going to do those legions and 1% mobilization for the 21st century. Mobilize 1% of the citizenry need be. I predicted what's happening now back in 2019. Back in 2019, I predicted what's happening now, and that's what I predicted with it. Back in 2019. October, November, you know, I am a geopolitical theoretical analyst and theorist, and I gotta repeat because it's part of my work, and of course, geopolitically, I am top among the top, creme de la creme in terms of geopolitics. This is my special interest, and even today, I realized that I spent 6 hours. I had 2 cups of coffee, and I didn't eat. I realized I made my lunch to eat for 1. It was already 4, and I ate it just before I left, you know. So I said, wow, I delayed it. I realized that I was so immersed in geopolitics and analyzing back and forth, you know, the China-Canadian situation, the U.S., and fundamentally as Canadians, our first and foremost, number one priority in geopolitics is to have the best cordial, friendly relations with the United States. Point. There's no arguing geopolitically. Coast to coast, ocean to ocean, we constitute a collective North American civilization. So no matter what, from a geopolitical perspective, our first and foremost, number one, is to have the best political integration and relation, military security with my brothers and sisters in the USA, because we are a new collective, and all who come to join us here in the new world, in the free world, we're a new emergent civilizational collective. And speaking of new and emergent, my premise, my analysis, of course, was based that due to the fact that many civilizations and nation states were not fully able to resolve their conflicts in the 20th century in a peaceful manner, that's what I concluded. That due to the fact that many nation states, civilizations and nation states were not fully resolve their conflicts in a peaceful manner, that's what I concluded, that due to that fact, these conflicts dating from the Soviet era, the Cold War era, which lasted more than 44 years and 9 months. Most agree 44 years and 9 months, 44 years and 9 months, 44 years and 9 months, almost 45, between 1947, March, and December 1991, That's what we're gonna get doing with that. So between 1947, March 1947, and March 1947, and March 1947, and 1991, December. So almost 45 years of the Cold War. The Cold War lasted long, eh? Almost 45 years. 44 years and 9 months between March 1947 and December 26, 1991, when the Soviet Union got dissoluted, when the dissolution of the Soviet Union happened, right? So that was one of my main premises. Look at this beautiful evergreen, how small and tiny I am, 7 times bigger my size, so I'm just a piece of dust with Asperger's, lusting, and geopoliticking, 24/7 sports, fitness, exercise, blah, blah, blah. March 20th, beginning of the Thelema New Year. That's what we gotta get doing with that. So that's what I gotta get doing, you know. So something which we gotta do, and something which we gotta be on that man of satisfaction, and we gotta get going on that. We gotta get going on that, and that's what we gotta get doing, and that's what we gotta get meditating on, and meditating about the things of life. Oh, almost my right eye and my left eye. Before it was the left and the right, now we're both with like pebbles, dust, pebbles, and I'm gonna blink a little bit 11 times, and God is blessed. God is, of course, I will to build the forgotten goddess temple on the Canadian-US border, because I credit me surviving COVID, thanks to the goddess. I credit me surviving COVID and my scars and how I was with all the that I lived, to the goddess, and I will to build the forgotten goddess temple, and I laid the foundation for the fusion of Canada and the United States. The dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom is North American centric public-private partnership fusion to create the two complementary covenant and cooperative institutions. The Dragon Army, aka North American Integrated Defense Security Service Force, to serve only for defense security service, emergency response, coast to coast, ocean to ocean, and the DGA, the Dancing Goddess Army, the North American Integrated Dance League, the North American Integrated Dance League, to plant more trees, to plant trees, to be for the environment, for the environment, to plant trees, to be for the environment, to plant trees, to be for the environment, to plant trees, and plant these trees right here, and be for the environment, and for joy, the joy of dancing, that two complementary covenant and cooperative institutions, via the implementation of my death fusion theory. We're gonna be able to do it, and gonna be able to do that rock and roll, so that's how we're gonna go drill it. And I gotta switch a little bit of that French soon, because we're here in La Belle Province. Here we made the great linguistic compromise to have the continuity of peace in the North American Collective, as we have made, with my brothers and sisters, blacks, 13.3, 13.4, my neighbors included. I have black neighbors, and we keep on rolling together, and I put on the table kisses as I put for the foundations of the dream, which is the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom, vice versa, to create the legions by mobilizing 1%, create new legions, pledge your legions to our family, to mobilize 1% of the population, 1% of the population, for the mobilization of 1% of the population, and to build 11 times bigger than the Coliseum where the hardball ball, aka blackout ball, was. The hardball ball, aka blackout ball, where the hardball ball, aka blackout ball, hardball ball, aka blackout ball. One of my favorite Super Bowls where my 49ers lost by 3 points only. 11 times bigger than that. On the Canadian-US border, build the Coliseum, North American Imperial Coliseum, for building and maintenance thereof. And that's how we gotta get doing and drilling with that. And that's how we gotta be on the go now. So that's how we gotta get doing on that. And so we gotta get doing on that for the XYZ. And that's how we gotta keep in mind, to be grateful here for what it is, and be grateful with all my scars, all my trauma scars, and survive COVID, survive being attacked several times, and spend a few years with one foot in the streets, one foot in the libraries, one foot in the streets, one foot in the libraries, one foot in the streets, one foot in the libraries. Pain, suffering, COVID, survived, and financially stressed now. Had many employments with Asperger's, made it more difficult being neurodivergent, and where as an Aspie I am was many Aspies, less able, less capable, not so adequate. At some things I am mediocre, average, and so-so. At some things I am mediocre, average, and so-so. At some things I am mediocre, average, and so-so. But we got our strengths. Geopolitics, I predicted what's happening now. Back in 2019, in October, November, I predicted it. The current situation that's unfolding across the world, I predicted it back in 2019. And I created a workout training program system to go consequently with whatever I predicted and whatever the case may be with that. And here's my second home. And I think the skating rink is off. It's spring. I gotta get a second opinion for my eyes, because my eyes are getting a little bit of got some prescription, but I think I'm gonna get used with that, whatever the case may be. So here we are, I'm gonna go march and got that backpack full of food, and from here to my place is another few hours. So I guess this is maybe only not even half point maybe in my march, but it's super important to get that bottle of water at midpoint before I go down, I guess, from the mountain, or when I get off of the mountain, to just HYDRAT, just hydrate good. Just hydrate good, and that's it for the rock and roll. We're gonna switch it to French now, because we in la belle province, and then we're gonna do that rock and roll bilingual. Bienvenue. If you want to think I want to say, and pledge your allegiance to our family, support the DRT, and I will to build 4 buildings with the construction workers' help, which I credit, lay on the table for the construction workers. Trillions of kisses, feet washings, kisses, feet washings, kisses, washing of the feet, kisses, massages, tickles, cooking, rock and roll, all that good services to build the 4. The Forgotten Goddess GODDSS Temple, the North American Imperial People's Coliseum, and the House of the Dragon, pyramid, scarlet, crimson, scarlet are shades of red. The Forgotten Goddess Temple with the pyramid, House of the Dragon. Nobody's born a dragon, you know the drill. Not even myself, to blood, sweat, and tears to turn that A into a no. And the Rainbow People's Palace, the Rainbow People's Palace for my fellow LGBTQ community, and Pyramid House of the Dragon, and the North American Imperial People's Coliseum, and the House of the Dragon. Those are the 2 which we got to implement as a democratic Republican, pro-labor and love, universal revolutionary centrism. My centrism is tied hand in hand with my trinity of theories. The CIT, Citizen Integration Theory, DRT, Death Row Fusion Theory, and the DFT, Democratic Fusion Theory for the collective North American civilizational complex. Salutations to the truckers. Love, salutation, rock and roll to the truckers. The butchers, the bakers, the nurses, the doctors, those flipping some hamburgers, those in the warehouse workers. As though somebody got a single bit of rock and roll for the boys and girls in blue. Blue for that security, and for my brothers and sisters who are incarcerated, you know, I got the North American Criminal Rehabilitation Act. I got that North American Criminal Rehabilitation Act, which I started writing about 7 years ago, and then I put some those brothers and sisters who lost their liberty and freedom to work and start building those 44 tunnels and get amnesty to participate in building those 44 tunnels, construction those 44 tunnels inspired by the Cheyenne Mountain Complex and the Montreal Underground Village in case of a thermonuclear war, and to have the purpose of, for the survival and the continuity of the North American collective, in case of a thermonuclear war. So So that's what it is with that, and that's what we gotta get doing with that, and we gotta get it on the drill, you know. So that's what we gotta get doing on that, and we gotta get on this vision to get it on the do, you know. It takes a little bit of each. It takes a little bit of love, and it takes a bit of kindness, goodness, and centrism. My pro-liberal love revolutionary centrism best. My pro-labor love revolutionary centrist best for the North American collective, for the North American collective civilizational complex. And I feel good. When I come here, it's such a joyous event. It's my second home, and I get flashes of past life reincarnations, you know. And you got some horses there, but they're not there now. But if you go here, the police, you gotta put some red on those cars. And for the Dragon Army, the legions for security service and defense, emergency response, we need some new trucks, and we need to implement my total mobile defense theory, or total mobile defense theory, or Total Mobile Defense Theory System, the T, Total, M, Mobile, D, T, MDT, TMDTS, TMDT, four-letter acronym, or 5, and don't discuss it too much because it's matters of national security, so it's ongoing and cannot divulge overly much much on the internet because it's for the Canada United States Joint North American Collective National Security Matters, which I cooperated with CSIS in the past and CSIS and other victims in the past. So that's what it is with that. And having cooperated with several layers with that, that's what we're gonna get doing with that. So we're gonna get doing on that, to get it done. So that's what it is with that. And so we gotta get doing. So it's super important that I do not divulge overly too much about it, too much about it. So because it's matters of national security and it's my theory and it's based on several layers, and I discuss it a bit. It's part of the call for the Operation Northern Scorpio, because it's this Operation Northern Scorpio for the Septennium 7-year plan, private partnership for the establishment of the fusion of Canada and United States and Defense Security Service and revitalization and recall regeneration, and feeling like we're gonna go a little bit because it's the first day of spring. Feel like going a little bit of how we usually go by that side in the darkness like that, around in the darkness in the forest. That's where we usually go. But suggest that people stay on the main road because it's still, not that safe. Although I know the road, so I kind of know how I could get in and out. But super important. Let's see how it goes. First day of spring, 20th of March. Celebrating special Thelemites. Thelema. Now sectarian Thelemite mystic. Reincarnated, sometimes a man or woman priestess on a rainbow dragon, aka priestess on a rainbow dragon, aka priestess on a, and that's what it is with that, and that's what it is with now. So that's what it is with the XYZ, and that's how we gotta get doing, so we gotta get doing. That's what we gotta get doing with that, so here we go by the side, and it's a beautiful place here. It's like my second home, and we gotta get it on the go, so it's something which we gotta do. Anyways, so that's how we're gonna go doing with that, and that's how we gotta go in the wild. So we gotta get doing with that. So yeah, always feel good. I come here, it's like such a I just feel so good. Awesome. And this is my second home, my mistress, my second home. Not just mine, but yours, ours, and many, and not just mine. It's not my private property, but it's open to all. Just be careful, don't pollute, and don't pollute with that. And that's it, that's all. We go up now. So I suggest you go by the main road to the Belvedere. Stay on the main road. Don't venture in the dark, It's paradox. Like seeing the dark. So that's how I gotta get doing now. 1st of 2025 that I come. Well, no, actually, I come even when it's, of course, snow through here. But now the snow is kind of gone. But although there's a bit mushiness and there's still some patches of ice, so just do not. If you don't know the mountain, don't take this route. Stay where the lights are. Stay where the main, and this can be treacherous, and sometimes branches fall here, Is the mistress, and she calls me General Cuckold. Clit dick, 50-50. Gonna get for those legions. Get those legions, legions, and we're gonna formulate the several legions, 1% of the population of both Canada and the United States, and we're gonna formulate the legion, and Mr. Trump, I'm no supporter, should have signed an executive order to raise the minimum wage for the rehabilitation of the vets, a few billions rather than tax breaks for the richer, saying not all about the money, and gonna get a little bit of investment for the North American inner urban cities, the ghettos, let's rebuild those. Blah, 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 blah. Dragon Army, I don't want to know nothing about it. Pledge your allegiance, and we're going to rebuild the ghettos with the implementation of my DRT, the debt refusion theory. We're going to do mass rebuilding and healing here in the North American Collective and ensure secure freedom. The legions, General Limp Dick, tiny scar. I literally have scars on my androgynous genitalia, but goddess, GODDSS, goddess has sometimes blessed it, rocket blessed it for my fellow homos and all willing loving to get that LOV from Rainbow Dragon's booty or Rainbow Dragon's clit, dick clit, half. Rainbow rocket, rainbow clit. You get both. Sometimes more the clit, sometimes more the rocket. Anyways, so that's what it is with that. And getting on those drills, on those toes. General Cuckold. You gotta march with yours truly 4 hours. Gotta do the general integrated total body training system, which is an efficient, effective workout training program system, which I've made, created, and designed in 2019. I made it, designed, and created to go hand in hand with a World War III scenario, and the rules are simple. Will be the de facto examination and is for the eligibility to be the Dragon Army. Calling for the PvP, you got to be able to do 100 push-ups, 100 squats, 100 hawks, check more than 372 of sessions of my own creative workout training program system, which I've done myself. So you're gonna have to do 100 push-ups, 100 squats, 100 hawks, 100 for each. 100 for each, 100 for each. And of course, one is allocated 93 minutes, and 44 seconds, and 9/11 of a second. The official time is allocation for the Dragon workout, aka the General Integrated Total Body Training System is, my eye again, left one. Yes, one is allocated 93 minutes, that's 93 minutes, an hour and a half, 93 minutes, 44 seconds, and 9/11 of a second. So 93 minutes, 44 seconds, and 9/11 of a second. So almost 45 seconds. So 93 minutes and almost 45 seconds, if you will. 93 minutes and three quarters of a minute. 3/4 of a minute, and 3/4 of a minute, and 3/4 of a minute. So that's what it is with that, and that's what we gotta get doing, and that's what we gotta be on the do it now. So it's something which we gotta be now, and which we gotta be on the LOV, and that's what we gotta be doing now, and we gotta be doing it, you know. So that's what we're gonna have to do. Implement the DRT, debt refusion theory. And this is my workout which I created. So these are the rules. Again, one is allocated 93 minutes, 44 seconds, and 3/4 of a minute, or close to 45 seconds. To do 100 push-ups, 100 squats, 100 hawks. 100 hawks, 100 push-ups, 100 hawks. That's 300, 100 for each. 100 push-ups, 100 hawks, 100 squats. And 13 maximum reps per set. 3 minimum, 13 reps maximum per set. 3 minimum, 13 reps maximum per set. 3 minimum. 13 reps maximum per set. 3 minimum. 13 and 3, those numbers go together. You're allowed in 13 max. You can do more, but you cannot mark more for the count until you get to 100 hawks, 100 squats, 100 push-ups. So 100 push-ups, 100 squats, 100 hawks. 13 reps maximum, 3 minimum. In between, you can do 7, 8, 9, 10, whatever the number. You can play around as I do. Get to 100. In between sets, once you start the countdown of 93 minutes, more 93 minutes and 44 seconds and 9/11 of a second, almost 45 seconds. Once you start the countdown, there's no pause. You got to keep it in motion by marching jogging, marching, running. You gotta keep it in motion. There's no pause, no stop until you complete the workout. I average about 66 minutes. Anywhere I went with the lowest, 44 minutes and 56 seconds was my lowest, I believe, and the highest was 88 minutes and 45 seconds. So, or 90 minutes and 45 seconds, the longest. So I got below 93, because if you don't reach it within the 93 minutes and 44 seconds and 9/11 of a second, then you have to do it again the next day or a few hours later. So 100 push-ups, 100 hawks, 100 squats. You don't stop once the countdown starts. The 93 minutes, you gotta keep it in motion and do 100 push-ups, 100 squats, 100 hawks, 13 reps max per set. 3 minimum, 13 reps max per set, 3 minimum, 13 reps max per set, 3 minimum, 13 and 3. You can do in between 6, 5, 5, 6, 7, 6, 7, 6, whatever the case may be. 13 and 3. Those are numbers which correlate. 13 maximum reps per set are allowed, 3 minimum. A minimum of 30 seconds of marching, jogging, running, or marching, or jogging, or running in between each set. In other words, there's no pause in between sets. Whether you do 13 or 3, you gotta march, jog, or run. You gotta march, jog, or run. You gotta march, jog, or run. Choice is up to you. We're going to switch it to that French now, because we're here in La Belle Province for a little bit of that French. Pledge your allegiance, let's get the Dragon Army, the legions, mobilize 1%. PPP, Public Private Partners for Security Service and Defense only. For the North American Collective, and Fuse, the North and the South, add some love in it. Rainbow, Dragon General, legions, pledge your allegiance, legions, rock and roll. Et voilà, on est déjà sur la montagne. Québécois et Québécoises, je viens de discuter de la théorie de la refusion de la dette. Je commence bien sûr avec la gratitude. C'est le 20 mars, premier jour officiel du printemps. Et je vous conseille de ne pas venir ici dans les ténèbres de la forêt sur la montagne. Ma deuxième maison, ma maîtresse qui me dit, hey, t'as un petit clitopénis, clitoris. Je dis oui. En faisant de l'entraînement physique, ça a été selon ma médecine et thérapie de choix. Ici, ma maîtresse, ma deuxième maison, je vous encourage. Après l'intelligence, les gens, vous êtes famille, soutenez le rêve de votre arc-en-ciel aujourd'hui, le 20 mars, de la Thelema, si vous êtes téléméthode de la Thelema. Et bien sûr, on célèbre un spécial mystique. Moi-même, j'ai pas toutes les réponses de la spiritualité. Ma spiritualité est pas mal rock'n'roll, ma spiritualité. Mon mysticisme est pas mal rock'n'roll que je vous chante aujourd'hui sur la montagne qu'on regarde vers la gauche et vers la droite, Québécois et Québécoises à la marche. Et je viens bien sûr des bonnes inspirations, il y a de l'air frais sur la montagne. Et bien sûr, je célèbre Marc, 5 ans. Depuis que j'ai survécu la COVID m'a frappé fort entre le 7 février 2020 et le 28 mars 2020. Entre le 7 février 2020 et le 7 février 2020 et 28-29 mars 2025. Donc, entre ce temps-là, entre le 7 février 2020 et le 28-29 mars, j'étais vraiment mort. J'étais frappé de la COVID, bien sûr. Puis pendant les frappes, quand ils m'ont frappé, c'était le virus, là, c'était comme le virus qui nous ont frappé, c'était, je dis au pluriel, parce que c'était comme peut-être des bactéries, des germes puis des microbes qui l'ont causé, mais on n'est pas sûr. Mais d'après la CIA, c'était quand même quelque chose qui a été créé dans un laboratoire à quelque part. Fait qu'il faut toujours faire cette possibilité, il faut qu'on soit ouvert, parce que moi-même, je ne sais pas c'est quoi qui a causé vraiment. Je pense que c'est les serpents qui l'ont transmis premièrement. La transmission de la COVID, ça s'est fait par les serpents. Tu sais, les serpents, les animaux, là, mais je suis pas sûr, je peux pas dire non à une autre théorie, parce que je suis pas certain que c'était les serpents. Il y en a qui croient que c'est les chauves-souris, les porcs, l'autre d'autres choses, d'autres chauves-souris, que ça soit d'autres animaux, que ça soit même... Je peux pas dire non à une autre possibilité. Je sais qu'entre le 7 février 2020 et jusqu'à la fin de mars, parce que vers le 28, 29, 30 mars, je me sentais mieux déjà. Mais ça a eu comme un couple de jours, c'était vraiment fort, là. C'était tous les symptômes, puis je pensais que j'allais mourir. Je pensais vraiment que c'était mon dernier chapitre. Je dis, oh, that's it, that's all pour moi, je ferme le chapitre, je suis en train de mourir. J'avais pris des Advil, des médicaments, tout ça. On avait fait appel ou quoi que ce soit. Et mon ami anonyme m'avait fait des choses, il avait pris quand même soin de moi-même, puis je pensais vraiment que j'allais mourir. Mais bon, je suis pas mort, j'ai survécu, j'ai crédit d'avoir survécu à la déesse, mais j'étais vraiment malade. De mon souvenir, j'ai jamais été malade de même que, tu sais, j'ai de la misère avec ma mémoire, j'ai comme l'amnésie rétrograde, le symptôme de l'amnésie rétrograde, comme une perte de mémoire, j'ai de la misère à me rappeler comme des blackouts dans ma mémoire. Je m'en souviens avoir déménagé d'une place avec beaucoup de moisissures. Il y avait comme la moisissure verte, la moisissure rouge, la moisissure blanche, la moisissure noire. Mais je m'en souviens juste avoir été attaqué un moment donné dans le métro. J'ai tombé, je me suis disloqué le bras droit. J'étais à l'hôpital juif, je me l'ont replacé. Puis ils m'avaient donné des médicaments parce que j'étais vraiment bien fait frapper. Je me suis fait frapper fort. C'était une attaque surprise, là. Attaque surprise. J'étais mis dans des... on replaçait le bras, j'avais comme le bras dans une affaire qui m'avait mis pour replacer le bras. Après ça, une couple de semaines, puis il y avait des médicaments. J'étais comme dans un coma pendant un couple de jours sur les médicaments. Puis avant ça, comme je l'ai reçu d'autres attaques, j'ai survécu, j'ai plein de cicatrices et tout ça sur moi-même, mais j'ai des blackouts de mémoire. J'ai de la misère à me souvenir de ma vie avant avoir déménagé où j'habite maintenant, puis j'étais en dépression, j'étais suicidaire, puis en 2017, j'ai traversé le Canada de côte à côte. J'ai traversé de côte à côte, j'ai traversé de côte à côte, de côte à côte, bien sûr, j'ai traversé de côte à côte. Bien sûr, j'ai traversé de côte à côte en 2017. J'ai traversé le Canada. Cet événement, ça a fait établir un esprit de corps solide. Puis en établissant un esprit de corps solide, bien sûr, avec le Québec, les Québécois, Québécoises, ma famille, les Canadiens aussi. Canadiens, Québécoises, nos frères et sœurs aux États-Unis, je vous considère comme ma famille, mais avant ça, j'étais en dépression, j'étais suicidaire, puis cet événement, ça m'avait fait sortir de la dépression. Avant ça, j'étais en dépression, j'étais suicidaire. Puis bien sûr, en traversant le Canada, c'était l'événement qui m'a vraiment changé ma vie. Depuis ce temps-là, après ça, je suis allé de Montréal à Vancouver en 2017, en août. Ça a pris 3 jours et demi par autobus. C'était quelque chose, un voyage, aller-retour, ça a 7 jours, là, l'été 2017 en août, puis après ça, en septembre, on est allé à Halifax, en Nouvelle-Écosse, avec mon ami anonyme. Fait que cet événement-là, ça m'a changé ma vie. Ça m'a tout changé ma vie. J'ai commencé à m'entraîner, puis j'ai eu comme un réveil. J'ai dit, waouh, tellement de choses à faire, à voir au Canada, au Québec. J'ai pas vu la baie James, j'ai pas vu les 2 villages de Saint-Adrien, tellement de choses que j'ai pas vues, tellement de choses que j'ai pas vues, bien sûr, pour le faire, et bien sûr, pour en faire, bien sûr. L'entraînement physique, j'ai perdu entre 80 et 93 livres, bien sûr, entre 80 et 93 livres. Après, j'ai créé mon propre système d'entraînement physique, puis du travail indépendant en géopolitique. Vous savez, moi, j'ai l'Asperger's, l'autisme monofonctionnel, et laissez pas des canettes ici, s'il vous plaît. Ça ne dérange pas que vous buvez, là, mais des canettes comme ça, il faut que vous mettez ça dans le recyclage, parce qu'il y a on a bien de la flore, de la faune, il y a des lapins, il y a des ratons, des lapins, on essaie de replanter ici aussi, là, fait que c'est laisser des canettes et des choses comme ça, là. Ça fait des années que j'en fais du travail ici. Je nettoie la montagne, c'est pas juste la mienne, là. Je dis c'est ma deuxième maison, mais c'est pas juste la mienne, tu sais. Dans cette vie, puis dans bien des vies antérieures, quand j'étais né homme-femme. Maintenant, vous avez l'androgyne, monsieur, madame 50-50, qui vous parle de l'autisme monofonctionnel, aussi connu comme l'Asperger's, hein. C'est une condition de neurodivergence avec laquelle je vis, puis c'est juste que cette condition, mais c'est pas une maladie mentale, mais il y a bien des gens qui font la confusion entre l'Asperger's puis la maladie mentale. Mais l'Asperger's, c'est l'autisme monofonctionnel, c'est juste que notre cerveau, il est fait différemment. Les Asperger's, nous, on a cette condition de neurodivergence. Notre cerveau, il est fait d'une autre manière. Fait que, comme tantôt, j'avais parlé à des citoyens qui m'ont rapproché un peu, puis, tu sais, justement, il a fallu que je contrôle les caractéristiques de l'Asperger's, parce que c'est pas des symptômes, tu sais, c'est pas une maladie mentale. L'Asperger's, c'est pas une maladie mentale. L'Asperger's, c'est une condition de neurodivergence. L'Asperger's, l'autisme monofonctionnel. Fait que j'ai dû faire un effort pour savoir, parce qu'ils m'ont parlé, je sais pas, ils m'ont dit quoi, quelque chose, bonjour, puis commencé à parler. Fait que là, j'ai commencé à dire, je me suis rapproché, proche. Fait que tu sais, comme je veux dire, les Asperger, nous, on a de la misère avec des choses, des normes de la société, comme l'espace personnel. Tu sais, un aspi va peut-être se rapprocher tellement proche du visage, comme à 1, 2, 3 pouces, là, comme briser l'espace personnel des autres citoyens. Fait que c'est possible qu'un Asperger brise l'espace personnel d'autres citoyens ou citoyennes. Fait que c'est des choses que moi-même, je dois toujours le faire constamment. Je dois faire un travail constamment. Je dois y travailler là-dessus. Je dois faire un travail là-dessus. Je dois faire un travail là-dessus, tu sais. C'est à tous les jours, mais dans les interactions sociales, on a de la misère. Moi-même, j'ai de la misère, puis bien des aspects dans savoir quand parler, quand ne pas parler, des caractéristiques de même, parce que c'est pas des symptômes, là, c'est pas une maladie mentale, c'est juste cette neurodivergence, ça fait que on est moins capable dans certaines circonstances comme les interactions sociales ou savoir quand parler, quand ne pas parler, savoir l'espace personnel, par exemple. Tantôt, justement, j'ai failli m'approcher proche des gens qui m'ont commencé à me parler. Là. Fait que je leur ai dit ci pis ça, puis that's all. Fait que là, on avait fait la conclusion que ça soit dans un état d'esprit de citoyenneté puis d'amour, tu sais, fraternel, là, parce que je veux aimer, puis j'adore savoir les gens qui s'aiment, puis je veux aimer moi-même, mais moi je suis androgyne pansexuel, mais je vous carte, hein, il va falloir que vous ayez 18 ans et plus, hein, comme vous voulez me faire de l'amour, noir, blanc, noir ou arc-en-ciel, homme-femme, que vous soyez noir, blanc, arc-en-ciel, homme-femme, mais je vous carte, hein. C'est 18 ans et plus, je sais que c'est peut-être l'âge de consentement, c'est 16 ans et plus, mais je vous carte comme à SQDC, moi. Comme à SQDC. Comme quand vous achetez du cannabis ou vous rentrez dans un bar, j'applique les mêmes principes. Je vais appliquer les mêmes principes. Bon, pour dire bien sûr que l'autisme monofonctionnel, c'est une condition de neurodivergence avec laquelle je vis. J'ai de la misère dans certaines choses, je suis moins capable, bien comme des Aspergers, mais on a nos forces tournent autour de qu'est-ce qu'on appelle pour les Aspergers les intérêts spéciaux, aussi connus comme les intérêts obsessifs, mais dire obsessif, ça rend pas justice, parce que même si aujourd'hui, comme par exemple, j'ai fait quasiment 6 heures d'analyse en géopolitique, c'est mon intérêt spécial, la géopolitique. Je suis moi-même un analyste et théoricien en géopolitique, encore une fois, qui a prévu la situation actuelle en 2019. J'avais prévu qu'est-ce qui se passe maintenant, de manière générale, en 2019. Fait que, pour moi, c'est pas une obsession. Pour les aspects, il faut que ce soit encouragé dans ces secteurs, ces intérêts spéciaux, que ça dépend, c'est sûr que ça varie d'individu en individu, mais moi-même, en étant un individu, en faisant partie de ce collectif, cette communauté, mais c'est pas une grosse communauté, là, c'est moins d'1%, moins de la moitié d'1%, c'est 0,44%. Hein. Il n'y a pas beaucoup d'Aspergers dans le monde. Il n'y en a pas beaucoup. C'est très rare. C'est une condition rare. Puis ça faisait bien des années qu'on m'avait diagnostiqué avec l'Asperger, l'autisme monofonctionnel, mais j'ai dit non, jusqu'à quand à peu près, il y a 45 mois, parce qu'il y avait plusieurs diagnostics qui l'ont passé. J'avais finalement dit, oui, c'est sûr que j'ai l'Asperger. Je suis sur le spectre de l'autisme, donc je dois vivre avec cette condition, fait que je dois faire la gestion de mes caractéristiques, puis je dois savoir quand parler, quand ne pas parler, puis quand se diriger vers d'autres choses, puis il faut être plus direct avec les Asperger. Puis nous-mêmes, on peut être direct, on peut paraître un peu offensif ou direct. C'est pas parce qu'on veut, on l'a inventé, c'est juste que c'est certaines normes de la société, de la communication, tu sais, les normes, les protocoles non écrits, là, non verbaux, là, tout ça, c'est dur pour les Aspergers comme moi-même. Ça vient pas facilement parce que notre cerveau est fait différemment. La constitution de notre cerveau est différente. Fait on voit le monde d'une autre manière. On est neurodivergent, c'est pas une maladie mentale. Fait on est différent, on a cette différence. Fait que c'est pas pour être méchant, tout ça, mais je fais partie de cette minorité, puis encore une fois, j'ai mes forces. La géopolitique, aujourd'hui, je célèbre que j'ai survécu, bien sûr, la COVID, puis en octobre 2019, novembre 2019, j'ai prévu la situation actuelle. J'ai prévu qu'il y aura une conflagration mondiale, une troisième guerre mondiale. C'est pour ça mes protocoles, la théorie de la refusion de la dette, la TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette, quand je dis prêter allégeance légion, de soutenir le rêve de votre dragon arc-en-ciel, c'est fondamentalement un appel à un partenariat public-privé. C'est un appel à un partenariat public-privé. Bon, la TRD, bien sûr, ça sort, j'ai été maudit par l'Asperger's, mais c'est la théorie que je vais me parler tantôt. Là, il vient de commencer à mouiller un peu, fait que je vais faire une petite vite. Moi, en allant vers la ville, puis on fait que la TRD, il faut que je la discute, ça vient que j'ai été maudit par l'Asperger's, mais c'est une théorie qui va nous sauver d'où qu'on est rendu avec les finances publiques. Les finances publiques. Du point de vue des finances publiques, l'année passée, on a payé 46,5 milliards d'intérêts. 46,5 milliards d'intérêts. 46,5 milliards d'intérêts. 46,5 milliards d'intérêts. 46,5 milliards d'intérêts sur la dette publique. Vous imaginez-vous, là, 1 milliard 109,0, puis en 2020-2021, le montant, c'était 20,3 milliards. C'est encore un chiffre énorme. 20,3 milliards, c'est 20 000 millions, là. Fait que ça a doublé. C'est sûr qu'à cause de la COVID, puis ailleurs, survécu la COVID pour moi-même, c'était comme la mort, la pestilence, puis la maladie. C'était comme la mort, la pestilence, puis la maladie. C'était comme la mort, la pestilence, puis la maladie. Mais j'ai survécu. Et bien sûr, c'est des choses qu'il faut qu'on fasse. Mais pour vous dire qu'il n'y a pas de solution à cause que l'intérêt a doublé. Là. C'est sûr que les programmes qui ont été dû faire l'implémentation du gouvernement durant la COVID pour sauver les gens, c'est sûr que ça nous a apporté à ce moment, aujourd'hui, où que l'intérêt qu'on paye sur la dette publique, c'est plus que le double que c'était, bien sûr, en 2020-2021. De 20,3 milliards, c'est le double à 46,5 milliards. À 46,5 milliards. Fait qu'imaginez-vous donc, là, 20,3 milliards. 20,3 milliards fois 2, c'est 40,6. C'est rendu à 46,5 milliards. 46,5 milliards. 46,5 milliards. Il n'y a pas de solution que la théorie de la refusion de la dette. Ma TRD, ou quelque chose qui se ressemble, qui est similaire à ma TRD en ce moment, c'est un paradoxe, mais on est rendu au point. Vous pouvez vous ostiner tant que vous voudrez, mais c'est juste les principes des finances mathématiques. C'est un principe. On va devoir... Qu'est-ce qu'on va couper dans le public? Les finances publiques, ceux qui ramassent les poubelles, la sanitation, les prisons, les services de sécurité publique, la GRC, la police, la GRC, la police, la GRC. C'est des choses qu'il va falloir faire. Qu'est-ce qu'on va couper? La GRC, la police, c'est des choses qu'il faut qu'on fasse. La GRC, la police, c'est-tu des choses qu'il faut qu'on fasse dans ce conflit? La GRC ou la police, c'est des choses qu'il va falloir faire. Parce que la TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette, la TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette, la TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette, c'est la seule et unique solution. Ou quelque chose qui ressemble, parce que l'intérêt qu'on a payé sur la dette publique, le montant de l'intérêt qu'on a payé sur la dette publique, ça a plus que doublé, imaginez-vous. Là. C'est plus que le double, c'est plus que le double. C'est allé de 20,3 milliards à 46,5. De 20,3 milliards à 46,5. C'est un chiffre énorme, là, pensez-y. Fait que la TRD, c'est la solution. Il n'y a pas d'autre solution, je vous l'explique. Avec il commence à mouiller bien trop. Là. Fait que la TRD, ça contient la théorie d'intégration monétaire aussi. Fait qu'on va prendre toute la dette. La théorie d'intégration monétaire est intégrée dans ma théorie de la refusion de la dette. Fait qu'on va prendre toute la dette public-privé, incluant mon 10 000 à la Banque Royale. Moi, j'ai un 10 000 $ de dette à la Banque Royale. Fait que toute la dette publique-privée, incluant mon 10 000, ton 10 000 de côte à côte, toute la dette publique-privée du Canada, encore une fois, on est rendu à payer 46,6 milliards l'année passée, juste l'intérêt seulement. Fait que, dû à cause que l'intérêt a plus que doublé en seulement 3 ans, c'est le même principe. Et laissez pas des canettes, s'il vous plaît. Encore, j'en trouve des canettes, là. Aujourd'hui, c'est comme le printemps, puis juste les mettez pour le recyclage, là. S'il vous plaît, en tout cas. Fait que le fait que l'intérêt a doublé, imaginez comme dans une situation de citoyen, individu, là, que l'intérêt double, seulement l'intérêt. Mettons, ça saute de 156 à 333, l'individu va devoir couper dans le budget. Si son salaire ne double pas, il n'y a pas bien des salaires qui ont doublé. La moyenne, bien, c'est 44,4 % la moyenne d'augmentation entre 2020 et 2025. En 5 ans, la moyenne, c'est 4,4 %. Et donc, en 4,4 %, donc c'est ça la moyenne. Et donc, en faisant, bien sûr, cette discussion de qu'on est rendu maintenant, pour en faire, cette discussion, c'est plus que le double. En étant plus que le double, bien sûr. Plus que le double. Pour le faire, bien sûr, plus que le double, c'est quelque chose qu'il faut qu'on fasse. Hein. Fait que la TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette, il faut qu'on fasse l'implémentation parce qu'on n'a pas le choix, c'est une urgence. C'est possible que l'effondrement des finances publiques commence dès demain, vendredi ou lundi. C'est possible que ça commence dès demain ou lundi. C'est possible qu'il y ait un effondrement des finances publiques. Un effondrement des finances publiques. C'est possible, c'est fort pas probablement. C'est possible, probablement qu'il c'est dès demain ça commence parce qu'on ne peut pas soutenir ça. Il faut qu'on coupe dans le budget public. Que ce soit la santé publique, la sanitation publique, le ramassage des poubelles, du compostage, il va falloir couper quelque chose. Fait qu'on va prendre toute la dette publique-privée, tout cet argent-là, ça va faire l'argent principal pour la création des nouvelles dettes. On va faire la conversion de toute la dette publique-privée, on va faire la conversion dans la devise des États-Unis. Fait que tout l'argent, la dette publique-privée va être convertie dans la devise des États-Unis. Cet argent-là, ça va fonder l'argent de cette banque. Nouvelle banque, on va appeler pour la création de l'unité d'échange universel. U.unité, U.échange, U.point universel. U.unité, U.unité, U.échange, U.point universel. Lui, on aura la valeur du dollar des États-Unis. On va ramasser avec les États-Unis cet argent-là en création avec la TRD. On va rebâtir l'infrastructure de l'Amérique du Nord, bâtir plus de centrales d'Hydro-Québec. On va faire beaucoup de biens communs. Fait qu'on va faire beaucoup de biens communs qu'on va faire, bien sûr, pour en faire ensemble. Dans le bien commun, pour en faire, bien sûr, du bien commun. Fait que dans ces choses-là, il faut qu'on fasse, bien sûr, ici qu'on est rendu au Belvédère, bien sûr, on est rendu avec les drapeaux. Et bien sûr, la TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette, il va falloir qu'on fasse l'implémentation de la TRD, puis on va prendre tout l'argent, la dette publique privée, on va faire la conversion de toute la dette publique privée dans la devise des États-Unis. Et tout cet argent-là, bien sûr, on va faire l'augmentation, on va le mettre ensemble, la TRD, bien sûr, pour en faire, bien sûr, toute la TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette. Bien sûr, on va prendre tout ensemble, on va faire la refusion. Et tout cet argent-là, ça va faire la création d'une nouvelle monnaie, bien sûr, d'une nouvelle monnaie, bien sûr, qu'on va faire le UI. Avec cet argent-là, on va pouvoir financer les gens à faire l'entraînement physique, bâtir plus de centrales, 44 centrales de Hydro-Québec et 44 tunnels. On va faire bien des choses qu'on va pouvoir faire dans le bien commun. Fait encore une fois, il n'y a pas d'autre solution que la TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette. Théorie de la refusion de la dette pour la création de l'unité d'échange universel. C'est la seule et unique solution, il n'y a pas d'autre solution. On va prendre toute la dette publique privée, on va faire la création de cette nouvelle monnaie qu'on va appeler UI, on va rebâtir l'infrastructure, financer les gens à faire l'entraînement physique, financer le tourisme, quoi que ce soit. Et that's all, la théorie de la refusion de la dette. Il faut qu'on fasse l'implémentation et il faut prêter allégeance légion. On va faire la création de l'armée du dragon pour les légions de partenariat public-privé. Fondamentalement, c'est tout un appel à un partenariat public-privé. Quand je vous dis de prêter allégeance légion, c'est un appel pour la fusion du Canada et des États-Unis destinées dans mon rêve, qui se manifestent comme le royaume de la déesse et du dragon qui danse, qui est fondamentalement un appel à un partenariat public-privé pour le collectif de l'Amérique du Nord, pour la sécurité, le service puis la défense, pour la sécurité puis le service puis la défense, pour la sécurité puis le service puis la défense, et bien sûr pour la sécurité puis le service puis la défense de côte à côte, pour l'armée de la déesse qui danse, l'armée de la déesse qui danse intégrée, pour la plantation des arbres, puis pour faire de l'environnement, du travail de l'environnement, puis du travail bien sûr, pas juste pour l'environnement, mais pour le bien-être, puis pour la joie de la danse, qui est mon sport préféré, j'adore danser, faire de la danse, donc la TRD, on va faire l'implémentation, fait que c'est ça qui est ça, maintenant on va faire du bon rock and roll bilingue, encore une fois la TRD c'est la seule et unique solution, vu qu'on a l'intérêt qu'on paye sur la dette publique, c'est plus que le double, fait qu'on n'a pas le choix de faire ça, puis on n'a pas le choix de faire ça, fait que that's it, that's all pour le rock and roll, l'amour et santé, prêter allégeance les gens, let's go, that's my favorite skyscraper, that's the pyramid that you know, that's the pyramid that you go, for the left and for the right, for the left and for the bite, so that you know that you see, for the love and colony, gotta go and hydrate B, gotta go and hydrate C, gotta go and hydrate B, gotta kiss it, that's my pyramid, that's the skyscrapers, for the left and right and purple, gotta kiss it so you know, gotta kiss it so you know, on the dance up in the go, and the dance up in the go, on the Belvedere as you blow, Belvedere as you know, Belvedere as you go, let's see if it's open. Let's see if it's open. Oh shit. Let's see if it's open. Not open for the sea. I guess we're gonna have to go old school, eh? For the city that you see, for the lights you know you be, for the kiss you know you freeze, for the left and bees, for the trees you know you kiss, it's the son of goddess, please, gotta build some of that skyscrapers. Yeah. Yeah. For the skyscrapers. For the left or right and purple, gotta give it for some love. Gotta give it for your love. Gotta give it for you now. Gotta give it for your bees. On the first day of that spring. Gotta kiss it as I go down. You know we see ya. Gotta be lights and sea, freestyle rainbow dragon that you see, freestyle rainbow dragon that you be, on the door, on the door, be knocking that rainbow dragon rock and roll as I go down from the top, down from the back and from the front, then you know thou gotta swing, kiss and go down and go please. What you gotta sneeze. What you gotta squeeze. Freestyle rainbow rock and roll, just a knocking on the door. Twerk that bottom peach. Twerk that bottom leeches. Got a peaches so you know. We are forbidding for the love. For the love and for the kiss, for the love and for the bees, for the love and for the trees, for the love and for the squeeze. So you know we bottom peas, so you know we bottom peas, so you know we bottom sneeze. Hey, c'est le printemps. Bienvenue sur la montagne, c'est la pluie. Il fait pas mal chaud, pas mal chaud. On descend les lumières, québécoises. C'est une chanson dans la pluie. Et moi, c'est le printemps 2025. Pas de problème, juste du rock et du roll. En descendant de la montagne, descendant pour la montagne. Descendant la montagne, descendant tous ensemble, ben des sandales pour se mettre, ben des sandales, ben s'en mettre, ben des sandales faut se mettre. Dans les pieds et dans les jambes, c'est la pluie, on a besoin pour en faire du fromage, pour en faire que ça soit, pour en faire ben du rock and roll, ben du rock and roll, ben du rock and roll, Ensemble, tous ensemble, Québécois et Québécoises, en plein bain dans la danse. Et que ça monte, que ça danse. De la Québécoise du Québec, bienvenue dans belle province.
Hey man.
Et que ça chante, que ça danse, que ça danse, que ça transe. Hey mouille! Ben temps, Québécois et Québécoises, bouge les fesses des montagnes. C'est du rock'n'roll ben ensemble. Et que ça soit ben regarde. Pas trébuche, ben ça glisse, glissade. C'est la montagne, ben lumière, ben la montagne, ben lumière. Hey! Bienvenue, bouge des fesses, bienvenue, bouge les fesses. Comme un arc-en-ciel, ben dragon, ben des fesses, ben problème. Hey! Je descends de la montagne, c'est pleine jase. Ben jasette, hey! Ben jasette, ben... Ben jasette, ben... Hey! Pas de bébête et culotte, et ça poigne, ben la danse. 16 orteils, let's go! Rainbow Dragon Rock'n'Roll 24/7. 24/7 we go down and out. 24/7 we go down and out. 24/7 we go down and out. I don't gotta sing it, gotta swing it, gotta freeze it, gotta lick it, gotta swing it, gotta freeze it. For you know we gotta be it, for you know we gotta sing it, for you know we gotta leave it. Live it till you freeze it, live it till you be it, live it till you freeze it, live it till you be it. Live it for the ghost, live it for the dope, live it for the black and white and rainbow. Gotta swing it that you know, for the cars up in the dough, for the cars up in the low, for the cars up in the yo, for the cars up in the blow, for the cars up in the dough, for the cars up in the dough, for the cars up in the Noah. And you know the up and for, and you know an up and for, and you know I gotta marry me a whore, marry me a whore, marry me a whore, play that rainbow in the free world, somebody kissing, somebody hugging. I love it, I swing it, swing those hips it, swing those hips it, swing those misfits, better don't miss it. Welcome against me, better don't miss bitch, better don't miss bitch, better don't miss me. I don't play me be avenged, 11-fold bitch, maybe avenged, 11-fold bitch. Maybe avenged, 11-fold, do the math, 11 times that you know up in the dime. Get my name out of your mouth. Adrian on a dragon, got a kisses for my allies. Allies got a life lighter. Got a kisses, that's a lighter. Hey, where the justice is? I got in my pocket, that's a lighter. Got a been broken, depressed, I got a scars up in my neck. So you know a flavor, kiss me like a vampire bester. Kiss me like a vampire bester. For the best and for the rest, Rainbow Dragon, that's a blesser. Hey, yeah, du rock'n'roll bilingue en mode libre. Les lumières de sa danse, c'est la pluie. Le printemps qui commence aujourd'hui. Aujourd'hui, messieurs, madame, ça en parle. Messieurs, madame, dragon la prêtresse Anne. Dragon la prêtresse Anne égale. Dragon égale la prêtresse Anne que ça soit. Hey, yeah. Let's go with the dragon, let's go with the smack, let's go with the flavor. Let's go with the flavor, let's go with the flavor, let's go with the flavor. Gotta kiss it so you know, gotta kiss it so you know, gotta kiss it so you blow. So that you know, for the left and for the right and for the left and for the right and for the left and for the right. Gotta kiss it for the springs, I gotta kiss it for your miss, I gotta kiss it for your springs. So you know I gotta hit, so you know I gotta miss, so you know I gotta blink. Blink of the eyes, I'm blinking the heat, I'm blinking the eyes, I'm blinking the heat. Gotta go, you know you gotta eat. Gotta go, you know you gotta eat. For the left and right on this, and for the left and right on hits. So you know I got a paper lips, you know I got a paper lips. Hey kiss, hey lips, hey kiss, hey lips. Gotta go up in the clips. Jogging in the snow, you please. Hey, no hits and we don't miss. That's a big snake on the dip. For the lights up in the right, for the rights up in the light. So you go and up and down and up in sight. Jogging on the rain, I gotta salute. Faut quand même salutation, ce qu'il faut un effort de faire la course sur le temps comme ça. Not seeing perfect, maybe that red dragon, that's what I said. Rouge, rainbow dragon. I see red even in the dark. The darkness was the rouge. So we go up in the go, so we go up in the low, so we go up in the blow. So you know we kiss it for the flavor, keep it for the flavor, keep it for another. I just gotta sing it, I just gotta beat me. You know I'm an ass people, I love that rock and roll and kiss it. Kiss my butt and kiss my cheeks, kiss my toes and kiss my lips. Hey, vous avez juste Asperger's, mais c'est le rock'n'roll. 24 sur 24 sur les orteils. Ça bouge la droite, la gauche, les orteils ensemble. Ça bouge la droite, la gauche, les oreilles ensemble. Ça bouge la droite, les oreilles ensemble. Ça bouge de la gauche, la droite, les oreilles, les orteils, les oreilles, les orteils ensemble. Encore pas de mémoire, encore pas de misère, encore ça lance, encore ça danse. Danse la gauche et la droite, danse la gauche et la droite, danse la gauche et la droite, québécoise. Tout ensemble, le calvaire, c'est un verre, ça tombe la tonnerre. Le printemps, ben c'est déjà le printemps, le 20 mars. 5 ans que j'ai survécu la COVID. 20 mars, c'est le printemps déjà, ça fait 5 ans que j'ai survécu la COVID. It's the march, for that Thelemite, the march. You know, 93, you know, we spark. For the no, you know, we high, we got a high, I don't kisses, I don't hide, I don't kisses, I don't lie. So you know we're gonna be on the side, you know we're gonna be on the flight, you know we got that ass piece, so we're gonna sing it up and down, you're gonna see it up and clown, up a frown, dancing all loud, dancing, got some dancing, and I'm dancing and I'm marching. Gotta go back home now in a few hours, eh? Got at least 2 hours from here, maybe an hour 44 minutes, well 2 hours. The route that I'm gonna take is 2 hours. Minimum 1 hour 45 minutes, maximum 2 hours 15 minutes. So in between 1 hour 45 and 2 hour 15 minutes from here to my place, which is kilometers and miles away, 13.3. Well, actually, the route that I'm going to take is more like 15.6. Fait que d'ici jusqu'à chez nous, c'est encore entre 1h45 minutes et 2h15. Parce que je m'en vais à la marche chez nous. I go on that march back home, and now it's getting on that rainy side, so it's not going to be a 3-hour video, but that's what we clock it in now, and spring some rock and roll as I go out the mountain 24/7, geopolitics, rock and roll, fitness, sports. C'est le sport, la géopolitique, et rock and roll 24 sur 24, so that's just how I do, you know. A little sunshine, call me Little Sunshine. World's second greatest poet ever, world's greatest living poet. But Crowley, Alistair Crowley, Papa Crowley buried me. A third of me in Hampton, New Jersey with Papa Crowley. A third of me up in the back where I was now. At the back where we saw that staff. And where we saw before, and that's what it is with that. And 1/3 of me sent to the city of pyramids. J'ai mettez-moi un tiers de moi vers Hampton, New Jersey, un tiers de moi. Cité des pyramides en Égypte, puis un tiers de moi en arrière ici. C'est la montagne en arrière, où que vous avez vu, je faisais de la danse avec le sceptre. Je faisais la danse avec le sceptre en arrière. So that's it, that's all with that. That's what we're gonna go drill it and encourage all the workout, train, exercise. Je vous encourage tous à faire l'entraînement physique. Ah ouais, des pompes pour le dragon arc-en-ciel, prescription de votre docteur. Prescription from Dr. Dragon, push-ups and hugs and gratitude. Des pompes pour la gratitude, de l'amour, gotta put some love with it. And who want to finance, I go up and down these stairs a few times. Dragon versus Trump, let's go fight me on the Canadian-US border. Let's build that North American People's Imperial Coliseum. Let's build that North American Imperial People's Coliseum. Let's build that North American Imperial People's Coliseum. Let's build that North American People's Imperial Coliseum. Let's build the North American People's Imperial Coliseum and the House of the Dragon, Pyramid, Scarlet Crimson, and Forgotten Goddess, Temple, GODDSS, and the Rainbow People's Palace for my fellow LGBTQ community combattus ensemble pour ma communauté LGBTQ, pour bien sûr le Temple de la Déesse, bien sûr le Palais du Peuple Arc-en-Ciel, ma communauté LGBTQ, puis la pyramide, la maison écarlate c'est rouge, de votre drapeau. Puis s'il vous plaît, please don't leave cans like this on the mountain. I'm going to have to put it in the recycling this year. Je vais devoir le mettre dans le recyclage. S'il vous plaît, please, s'il vous plaît. I do this for years and years and years. I've been picking cans after people, and you know, there's flora, fauna. We try to preserve this mountain for now. Back in the urban jungle. Si maintenant je suis de retour dans la jungle urbaine, fait que juste s'il vous plaît, tu sais, fait, je viens d'empoigner 3 canettes, tu sais, 3 canettes là. J'en ai 3, so that's what I gotta do, man. I gotta put it properly there, see? You know, so pick up after you. So here where it goes, I'm going to show you. C'est là que ça va, ou there's other places around the mountain. Il y a d'autres places à la montagne, mais c'est là que ça va. That's where it goes. C'est là que ça va. That's where it goes. Don't leave it in the mountain, see? I don't mind you drinking. And now I got to disinfect my hands, of course, because I don't know who touched it. So I'm going to have to take my disinfectant and disinfect my hands. But see, this is where the recycling goes. C'est là que ça va, puis il y en a d'autres sur la montagne, mais c'est ça qu'on doit mettre ça ici. C'est ça qu'on doit mettre ça ici. So that's why I gotta put it there, see? So now, because I don't know how many people touched it, I gotta disinfect my hands because there's bacteria, microbes, and germs. So that's just what I gotta do, you know? If I wait here, I'm gonna press the button. Gonna press the button here, like that, see? The cross, to wait the cross on the side there. So that's what we gotta get doing with that. That's what we gotta get doing on that, you know? So